tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Pop and get us swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Amadaya production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Pop and get us swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading no light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Put my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Pop and get us swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Please be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so we have a lot to cover this morning, so we're going to just get right into it. Okay, everyone, please hit the like button. Also, double check to make sure that you're still subscribed to the Queen's channel, especially if you have not been receiving the notifications. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. Now, let's see who's all in here. All right, Nessa G, Nessie X, the lovely T, Soul Sister. All right, Reggie. Let's get into it, Claudette. DJ Big Six is in the virtual building. All right. Queen Koya is here. Okay, Bronze Flat Power God. All right, let's get into it. Everybody, likes up. Please hit the like button. I see you, G from the land. Okay, and nice MTK. All right. So anyway, with that all being said, shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuning into the Queen. All right, and a big shout out to my moderators for putting in work. I see you, Leon, Robert, okay, TC Dan. All right, let's get into it. Before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells the beard oil as well. Okay, and she often has sales. All right, so please pay attention and make sure that you're purchasing your hair oils from her. Okay, they're the best. Now, that all being said, before we get into the news, let's talk about this little old hater who left me a comment. Y'all know I don't always get to read the comments. Sometimes I do, but when I do, if I see somebody saying something slick, y'all already know I'm going to address it. Okay, let's get into it really quick. I don't want to spend a lot of time on this because we have too much to get into, but I do have time for this. Okay. Likes up, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Now I'm going to share my screen and show you all what this comment that the little hater left me. And I would like for the hater, if you're listening, to click that link. Okay, that's what I would like for you to do. Get over and click that link, okay? Because I find this all interesting. Now, someone by the name of Nikki Fabulous, I'm going to call her Nikki Not So Fabulous, okay? She says, you should name yourself Nefarious. Please pay attention. OMG, you're annoying. Not annoying, honey, police. I said, honey, if I'm annoying, why do you continue to watch my channel? I see you've left numerous comments, so that means you watch often. You should name yourself Obtuse. OMG, you're stupid. Okay, next time I go live, let me know you're watching so I can drop the link. Okay, then we can talk face to face. Keep that same energy too, Bia. Okay, y'all know I don't play these games. Okay, first of all, here's the thing. If you think I'm so annoying, why are you watching my channel? Because you clearly watch my channel all the time. That's what you do. Because, all I have to do is click on someone's profile and see the comments that they've left. And this person has left a myriad of comments. I only screenshot a few of them. Okay, I want you to pay attention. So if I'm so annoying, why do you continue to tune in? I'll tell you why. You don't even need to answer, Nikki, Not So Fabulous. The reason you continue to tune in is because you know that I give facts, I bring receipts, and I have very good commentary and dialogue. And I'm very articulate and educated. That's why you tune in. But the fact of the matter is, you seem to be a whole hater. And that's kind of obvious from your comment, but also I find it interesting because you see people who are stupid, obtuse, just not intellectually sufficient, they tend to be annoyed by people of my caliber. Okay. And by that, I mean smart people. Yeah. So that's just what it is. I'm sorry that you feel that way, but just know that you do not. I repeat, you do not ever have to tune in. Now, I'm not going to block you. You see, I'm hoping that you'll block yourself. Okay, because if someone's annoying, why in the world would you ever tune into them? I have several questions. Okay, because when I don't like someone's commentary or I find them to be annoying, that's what I don't do is tune in. Because to tune in to someone that you find annoying is foolish. Okay, and that would make you stupid. Okay, i.e., obtuse. All right, so anyway, let's get into it. Nikki, I'm still waiting for you to get in that chat so I can drop that link because I will make time for that. Okay, because I always love a good roast because that's exactly what you're going to get, boo-boo. That's exactly what you're going to get. All right? Now, let me continue with the news. Okay, Trump, let me tell y'all something. Forrest Trump is going to get us all blown to smithereens. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, he is unhinged and so stupid. All right, he's as obtuse as Nikki Not So Fabulous. Now, let's talk about it because, they've said that 3 soldiers have died. Now, me personally, I think it's more than that. And everyone's going around doing TikTok videos and even YouTube videos posting the faces of these soldiers that passed away, but they're posting the wrong faces. Okay, they're posting the wrong faces. So let me just clarify this real quick because I haven't seen them actually post the people who have been killed. I haven't seen them really post the people who have been killed, but what I do know is the people they're posting, these 3 Black soldiers, that's not correct because these people all died in 2024. Okay, all we have to do is just a little bit of research and fact checking, and then we would have our facts straight. Okay, Now I'm waiting for this to pull up because to load. I just sent it to my email, or not load, but just here it goes. Okay, so this is the picture that they're sending, saying these are the three that passed away. Now these three people did die. They just died in 2024, not during the current conflict that's going on. Okay, so these people died in 2024. They're not the soldiers that have died in this war. All right. Just wanted to clarify that. I haven't seen them post pictures of those people. I have looked and I haven't seen it as of yet. All right. So let's get into it. It's all going bad, people. First of all, let me just say that a U.S. fighter jet was shot down by friendly fire. Three U.S. fighter jets shot down by friendly fire over Kuwait. Okay. So let's get into it. And then they actually showed one of the soldiers, I do believe it was the pilot, was in the back of a truck in Kuwait. They were trying to help him.
3 American fighter jets crashing in Kuwait. U.S. officials saying the crews all survived and that the jets were mistakenly shot down by Kuwaiti air defenses in a friendly fire incident during active combat with Iran. It is also in Kuwait where the United States suffered its first casualties in this rapidly expanding war. 2 U.S. officials telling NBC News yesterday that at least 3 American service members were killed and 5 seriously wounded by an Iranian attack. President Trump acknowledged the deaths and said the war would continue until all its objectives are achieved.
We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is.
Israel and the United States are pounding Iran around the clock, targeting its military and leadership, killing Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The Pentagon saying the U.S. so far has hit around 1,000 targets. And there are civilian casualties. Iran says more than 100 were killed in a strike on a girls' school in Iran. The U.S. military says it's looking into the report. And in Israel, at least 9 people were killed by an Iranian ballistic missile in the town of Beit Shemesh, outside of Jerusalem. Iran is firing at Israel and across the Middle East. Bahrain, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates among the countries that reported new attacks just this morning. An oil tanker set on fire off the coast of Oman. And now the pro-Iranian militant group Hezbollah has joined the war as well, firing rockets overnight from Lebanon into northern Israel. Israel returning fire, killing several dozen people, according to Lebanon's health ministry. And there are some emerging signs that this conflict could spiral out of control. In Baghdad yesterday, and Iran has tremendous amount of influence in Iraq. Large pro-Iranian crowds tried to storm the so-called Green Zone and swarm the U.S. Embassy. Craig?
Our Chief Foreign Correspondent Richard Ingleforth there in Israel. Richard, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts.
Somebody sent me something about Michael Jackson's children being on illegal substances. I don't care. Those are not Michael Jackson's children as far as I'm concerned. I really don't care what they're doing. Okay, because I do remember that one of them was trying to keep Miss Catherine Jackson from getting money from Michael's estate. I don't care about those kids. Okay, with that all being said, let's continue. Okay, so they also report that Netanyahu, that his office was reportedly attacked in the latest missile barrage. This was reported 3 hours ago. Let's get into it. When I tell you the devils are busy,
Urgent claims from Iran. According to Tasnim news agency, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has announced it targeted the office of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as part of what it calls the 10th wave. The strike allegedly also included the headquarters of Israel's Air Force commander. If confirmed, this marks a dramatic expansion in the scope of declared targets.
In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, the 10th wave of Operation True Promise. 4 began with the illumination of Khyber missiles, opening massive gates of fire toward the occupied territories. A targeted attack on the government complex of the Zionist regime in Tel Aviv, attacks on military and security centers in Haifa, and an attack on East Jerusalem were among the objectives of the 10th wave. Previously, we had warned about the expansion of attacks on bases and the occupied territories of the aggressive enemy, and had already announced this.
The IRGC frames the move as a calibrated phase in an ongoing campaign. Leadership-linked infrastructure and senior command centers are now being cited as targets. The messaging signals escalation at the highest political and military levels.
The sound of sirens in Israel will never stop. Now we advise the residents of the occupied territories to stay away from the vicinity of military bases, security centers, and government facilities, and to immediately leave the occupied territories. The occupied territories that Netanyahu's government has forced you to live in have now become places of death and destruction.
However, critical questions remain unanswered. It is not clear whether Netanyahu was present at the time of the alleged attack. There has been no official confirmation from Israel verifying whether the Prime Minister's office was struck. The absence of Israeli confirmation keeps the situation fluid. In fast-moving conflicts, competing narratives often surface before verification catches up. The claim alone, however, carries significant strategic weight. As tensions intensify across the Middle East, the focus now shifts to confirmation, response, and potential next steps. Attribution rests with Iranian state-linked reporting, while Israeli authorities have yet to issue a formal statement.
Now, so I've heard that supposedly that Trump offered a ceasefire, but Iran turned it down. Now, that's what I heard. I'm going to fact check it in just a second. Okay, let's go to this next clip because Iran's missile strike on Israel. Dramatic impact moment caught on video. This is reported 2 hours ago. Okay, let's get into it. And also, there was a woman, a black woman who's a U.S. citizen in Dubai. She went there for her birthday, supposedly, and she's just talking about, how they can hear the bombs going off outside their hotel room and that countries are helping their people. But because the U.S. started this war, like nobody's helping them. And then I heard also that Dubai was giving people free hotels and stuff like that, the people that are stuck there.
All right, let's get to the big breaking news coming in at the moment. Iran has released fresh visuals of its missile attack on Israel and American bases as well as Gulf countries. These are the images of the moment of firing the Fatah 2 missile in what Iran calls as Operation Sadiq Promise 4. Fatah 2, which is Iran's most advanced hypersonic missile, has made its debut in the ongoing war against Israel. Remember, this missile is a better version of the original Fatah 1, featuring a hypersonic glide vehicle warhead designed to evade modern air defense systems through high-speed maneuverability. Now remember, Fatah 2 is capable of reaching terminal velocities between Mach 13 and 15. It has a range of approximately 14 to 1500 kilometers, placing targets across West Asia, including Israel and American regional bases, within its reach. It carries an explosive warhead of roughly 200 kilograms. That's the latest that's coming in. Iran now releasing visuals of its missile attack as well. All right, let me welcome Chris Blackburn to the broadcast. He's a security analyst. He's joining us from London at the moment. Chris, welcome to Beyond. I want to start by asking you how the European view is. You've got UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer saying that we let America use the bases there, but we will not directly get into this conflict, despite the fact that Europe might have been just dragged into this entire conflict.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, I think European leaders have been very cautious about their role, and I think, well, to be honest, a lot of the Middle Eastern countries are too. And we've seen conflicting reports that the Saudis wanted this attack to go up, to happen against Iran. So European powers are sort of moving and shifting, saying, listen, we're not going to aggressively attack Iran, but we will help defend the rest of the Middle East. So the conflict is widening in Israel and Lebanon. We're seeing attacks on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. So the Europeans are sort of scared about how this is going to escalate, but we're trying to reassure sort of Middle Eastern allies that we've got their backs. So it's a very difficult position for Prime Minister Keir Starmer to take, but we're seeing a sort of a change as the war is unfolding.
So let me just tell you all something. Okay, so first off, nice M10K says, Queen Pink is a nice color on you. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate your kind words and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, now here's the thing. It looks like things may not be going so well for the U.S. because they said that France and UK are talking about actually jumping in, like tapping in, right? So if you have to tap them in, what's really going on? I just have questions. Okay, and also they're saying that Europe is condemning Iran strikes and basically saying they need to stop. Well, I'm sorry, what? Why would they stop when they were the ones attacked? Okay, they do have a right to retaliate. Okay, that's just what it is. I mean, they sound crazy to me. Did not Israel and the U.S. start this whole thing? And I want you to pay attention to the false narrative they keep putting out there, because now this morning during a briefing, I heard Pete Hegseth say, well, we didn't start this war. President Trump didn't start this war, but he's going to finish it. I told you all yesterday, that's the lie they're pushing and peddling. They say this war has been going on since 1979. If the war had been going on since 1979, how come we haven't heard about it? How come we haven't been talking about it? How come it hasn't been reported on? And how come Trump said in 2011, 2012, and 2013 that Obama was going to start a war with Iran for various reasons, such as being reelected, such as because he's going down in the polls with the opinion polls and other reasons. So why would he have been saying that? Okay, and also let me tell you something else that people are saying. Now, I can't substantiate this, but do you all remember the audio? And I don't remember if I played it for you all, but there was an audio that came out some time ago. I don't know if I played it because at the time, they were saying that it was AI. Well, now they're saying it's real. And I have reason to wonder, because what Trump said, hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick. Because what Trump said in there is what's happening right now. Okay, what he said in this audio is what's happening right now. So I'm starting to wonder, was this AI? Because they lie so much. Okay, and I already told you all over a year ago that they would be using AI to fool us so we wouldn't know what's real and what isn't. Okay, I'm going to have to find that audio in a second. But while you all watch this clip, I'll look for it, okay?
News out of the Middle East, where the fighting between the U.S., Israel, and Iran continues. We have just learned that fire and smoke have been seen inside the U.S. Embassy compound in Kuwait after an attack by Iran. We are now working on gathering more information.
This comes as missiles were launched from Iran toward Israel and Bahrain just within the last hour. Here's a live look at Jerusalem right now. It's just after 9 o'clock Monday morning there. Sunday was a deadly day. At least 9 people killed at a bombing at a synagogue. This also comes after we've learned new details on the first American casualties of an escalating air assault.
Tonight, 3 United States service members are confirmed dead and 5 more seriously injured in an Iranian attack in Kuwait, retaliation for the assassination of the country's supreme leader by the U.S. and Israel. Late today, President Trump released a recorded video honoring the fallen and predicting more American deaths.
As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation. And sadly, there will likely be more.
In a phone conversation tonight, President Trump told ABC's Jonathan Karl of the conflict with Iran, quote, "We always thought it was a 4 to 5 week deal." U.S. officials say military forces have already hit more than 1,000 targets this weekend. Israel says the joint operation has crippled nearly all of Iran's defense.
Hold on. I'm going to need you all to get those likes up. I'm going to need y'all to get those likes up. Let's get them up. Let's get them up. Let's get the likes up, okay? Because if you're tuned into the broadcast, you must like what you're hearing. Okay, if you don't, you know what to do. All right, let's get those likes up. Thank you.
Fences. But missiles also struck an Iranian girls' school, killing more than 140 civilians. And this video shows a private hospital and hotel heavily damaged by a military strike on an Iranian state TV antenna. The president oversaw the joint air assault on Iran from his Palm Beach golf club late Friday night. Saturday night, as Iran retaliated with drones and missiles, many aimed at U.S. bases across the region, the president mingled with guests at a private fundraiser. With deadly explosions erupting across the Middle East as President Trump and Iran's foreign minister exchange escalating threats of more strikes, fear is growing of an all-out regional war. California Senator Adam Schiff wants answers from the White House.
The president has made no case to the American people. He sought no authorization from Congress. We need to return ASAP and take up a vote on the War Powers Resolution.
As he returned to the White House late tonight.
Mr. President, can we take questions on Iran? Mr. President, what's your message to the families of the service members who were killed?
President Trump evaded questions from reporters on perhaps the most consequential decision of his second presidency.
So we heard California Senator Adam Schiff asked there, what will come next? Well, in Washington, several things will happen. Tomorrow, the Gang of Eight and key leaders of national security committees are expected to receive a classified briefing on Iran from Secretary of State Marco Rubio and other members of the Trump administration. That's according to multiple sources. Then on Tuesday, all members of the House and Senate will receive a classified briefing from the administration. On Thursday, lawmakers are expected to hold a vote on the highly anticipated War Powers Resolution. That's according to 2 sources speaking.
So they're going to have to get congressional approval before Donald Trump can order any further, anything else. Now, with that all being said, I found the audio, so let's go to it. Yeah, absolutely, Cassandra. He is a liar and a con artist. That's exactly what he is. And a pedo to boot, in my opinion.
Releasing the Epstein files. Fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't care what you do. Start a fucking war. Just don't let them get out. If I go down, I will bring all of you down. Not releasing the Epstein files. Fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't care what you do. Start a fucking war. Just don't let them get out. If I go down, I will bring all of you down.
That sounds very real, okay? That sounds very real. Start an effing war. That's what he said. Not releasing the Epstein files. Start an effing war, and here we are. Y'all still think that was AI? Y'all still think that was AI? Okay, because that's what they said when it initially came out, but now I'm starting to wonder. Okay, I'm starting to wonder. That sounds pretty real. That was him. Yeah, that sounded like him. That didn't sound like AI to me. And now, how would they know that he was going to start a war? Okay, how would that know? How would they know that he's going to start a war? Okay, and we know he was beefing with Marjorie Taylor Greene at that point. So yeah, I'm inclined to think that's absolutely official that was Donald Trump. Now I can't substantiate it, but that's just what I think. Okay, start a war, and then a war is already in progress. Okay, right now it's in process. Please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let's continue. Okay, here we go. Now there's a concern. There's a concern that there'll be attacks on U.S. soil. Let me tell you something. They're talking about sleeper cells. Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Yeah, Robert, like the Truman Show. Exactly. And Robert said theater. Exactly. I've been told you all that. Political theater and the Truman Show. I said that a long time ago before this war even started. But here's the thing. Will Iran retaliate on American cities? Okay, an expert weighs in. Now, I'm going to tell you like this. Something big is going to happen, some sort of terrorist attack right here on American soil, and they're going to say that it was Iran. They're going to say it was. It just might not be. Okay, it just might not be. Right now, they could be already in the process of getting crisis actors. Something's about to happen. Now, I want you to pay attention because you know the devils eat their own. Okay, the devils eat their own. They absolutely, I wouldn't put it past them to do something nefarious that would cost the lives of their own people, and just so they could blame it on Iran. Okay, I want you all to pay attention because at the end of the day, you know, isn't that what the plan was with this war when they were debating back and forth, allegedly, according to sources close to the White House, who said that there was a debate between the U.S. and Israel about who would strike first. And basically saying that if it would be best for Israel to strike first is what the U.S. allegedly said. This was reported by Politico. Said that if the U.S. or if Israel struck first, that would be better because when Iran retaliated and hit one of the military bases with the U.S. soldiers there, then that would make it better for the U.S. to just jump on in. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. So with that all being said, very calculated and willing to lose or willing to sacrifice the lives of our own soldiers. Okay, so with that all being said, please pay attention because if something goes down, and which it is, just remember, it might not be who you think. Okay, it might not be who you think. Something's definitely going to go down. I'm telling you that right now. Now let's go to this. And then, you know, they're talking about France and the UK jumping in. But what do they think's going to happen then? What do they think's going to happen then? Because Iran has allies too. Very dangerous, if you ask me. Very dangerous.
Joining me now is Jason Campbell, a senior fellow with the Middle East Institute. And Jason, mighty impressive portfolio. I mean, you've got a PhD in war studies, a NATO portfolio, expertise in this region specifically. So thank you for bringing your insight to us.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Tell me, what is actually driving Iran's actions right now, would you say? Are we talking about defense, retaliation, a regime change, something bigger?
Well, I think it's a little bit of the first two things you said. It's defense and retaliation. I think what was expected if the U.S. were to attack was that Iran would strike certainly Israel, as it did, if you remember, in last year's 12-day war in June. It's also struck with more veracity U.S. Military bases throughout the Gulf region, also expected. I'm a little bit surprised that they were so quick to strike some of the civilian areas of the Gulf states so soon after the initial strikes. I will also say that this time around, the Iranian military struck much faster and from many more points throughout the country than it did in last year's 12-day war, where it took them nearly a day to strike back at Israel. We saw yesterday it was only within a couple of hours that you saw Iranian missiles being fired from many places throughout the country to a pretty diverse array of targets.
Does that indicate to you that they were prepared? Because we have obviously been talking about this for a while. The United States has gradually been moving military assets to the region. The peace talks have been underway now for quite some time. So was this something that they were preparing for and ready to pull the trigger, for lack of a better term, once the United States and Israel struck?
Absolutely. And I would say it not just in the last few weeks, but I think in the wake of last June's 12-day war, the ensuing months, I think they've, that really, broke the proverbial steel in terms of U.S. and Israel being willing to strike Iran really for the first time. And I think in the wake of that, they had to really start getting very serious about preparing for what I think a lot of people felt could be a secondary wave of attacks, and putting in protocol.
Okay, at the end of the day, we have to move on. Vince says UK Prime Minister is linked to the devil's files. Going to war won't stop the inevitable. Exactly. Okay, this is all just a grand distraction from those files. Okay, you heard him on the audio. Start a war. Now, with that all being said, I forgot just that quick about the terrorist attack in Austin. Okay. Thank you, beloved, for putting that in the chat. Okay, so I looked it up. And here's what they say. Austin mass shooting may have been motivated by Iran strikes, according to officials. Here's what we know. Oh, really? How convenient. See, I knew this was coming. Okay, I knew this was coming. Now let's talk about it. Hold on. Thank you for letting me know about this. Early Sunday morning, just as bars along Austin's bustling 6th Street were winding down for the night, a barrage of gunfire tore through the popular entertainment district in the heart of Texas's capital. A man in a large SUV rolled down his window and opened fire on bar patrons outside, according to the police. He continued his assault by driving down the street, getting out of the SUV, and shooting people walking by. By the end of the rampage, 2 people were dead and 14 others injured. The suspect was also killed. Now, while the motive of the deadly onslaught has not been confirmed, authorities are investigating whether the suspect was inspired by the weekend's U.S. and Israeli attacks on Iran. Multiple law enforcement officials briefed on the case gave this information. Investigators are also digging into the man's criminal history and his mental health records. Okay, this isn't the kind of event I'm really talking about. It's going to be something worse than this. I see something worse than this happening, but I'm not surprised they're saying this person is connected to Iran. He looks black. I'm going to show his picture, but they say this image of the Diagne was captured by a Tesla camera on the night of the shooting, according to a senior law enforcement source. The image was initially obtained by Fox News. Suspect was wearing a shirt with an Iranian flag design on it underneath a hoodie printed with property of Allah. Okay, see, here's what we're not going to do. I want y'all to pay attention. I'm sorry, are we supposed to believe that conveniently somebody comes out, commits a whole terrorist attack, and then they wore a shirt that said property of Allah? That reminds me of those bullets that had trans propaganda on it, supposedly, when Charlie Kirk came up deceased. That's what that reminds me of. So, I mean, they're really trying to make it, that, okay, this is somebody from Iran. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't, but I find it interesting that they would wear property of Allah to let us know that they're a Muslim when this all happened. So are they saying this was some sort of Muslim extremist? Let me go to the picture. Are they trying to tell us this was some sort of Muslim extremist so they can start discriminating against Muslims again like they did during 9/11? Okay, I have several questions. I don't believe anything this government says, and I don't believe much of what the lamestream media reports. I just don't. Okay? Because they're liars who lie. And y'all should know that by now. So anyway, with that all being said, let me continue. So it goes on to say, obviously, it's still way too early in the process to determine an exact motivation, but there were indicators on the subject, and then his vehicle that indicate a potential nexus to terrorism, according to Alex Dorbin, acting special agent in charge of the FBI San Antonio division. Now, that being said, they say a bevy of law enforcement officers arrived Sunday at a home connected to the suspect in Pflugerville, okay, a suburb of Austin. It's spelled P-F-L-U. Pflugerville or Pflugerville, maybe the P silent, I'm not sure. But nonetheless, this is what they're saying happened. So I just can't see somebody who's about to commit a terrorist attack wearing a t-shirt or hoodie that says property of Allah. Okay, that's real crazy if that's what actually happens now. So anyway, they say investigators hauled boxes of items from the home and examined a car in the driveway. This is what KEYE reported. Now, authorities searching the home were likely investigating computers and phones to determine if the suspect read any propaganda or left any writings indicating what he intended to do. Now, Diagne entered the United States on March 13th of 2000 on a B-2 tourist visa. Okay, a Department of Homeland Security official gave this info to CNN. They say in June of 2006, he adjusted his status to lawful permanent resident based on marriage to a U.S. citizen. He naturalized on April the 5th of 2013. Now, Diagne was originally from Senegal. A law enforcement official familiar with the investigation gave CNN the details. They say upon arriving in the U.S., Diagne initially settled in New York and eventually made its way to Texas, although it's not clear when. Now, he had multiple addresses in the Lone Star State. So in 2022, he was arrested in Texas on a charge of collision, okay, with vehicle damage, a misdemeanor offense, and this is according to the DHS. Authorities are also reviewing past mental health encounters the suspect had while living in Texas. Multiple law enforcement officials gave the details. Now, CNN has reached out to the Austin Police Department and the FBI's San Antonio division for further details. They say the violence erupted along a stretch of 6th Street, known for its dense concentration of bars and live music venues. The vibrant corridor is a short drive from the University of Texas at Austin, which has 55,000 students. Now, authorities first received a call about a man shooting from a large SUV outside Buford's backyard beer garden. Okay, according to Austin Police Chief Lisa Davis, saying that at one point he put his flashers on, rolled down his window, and began using a pistol, shooting out of his car windows, striking patrons of the bar that were on the patio and that were in front of the bar. This sounds very strange. Y'all don't think this sounds fishy? So, anywho, goes on to say, the suspect then drove west on 6th Street, parked his SUV, and got out with a rifle, the police chief said. He then began shooting at people walking by. Now, our suspect was coming toward East Austin on East 6th Street. Officers were coming toward him, and at the intersection, he was shot, and he was killed, according to Davis. Video from the scene shows law enforcement officers running toward the scene as people duck for cover. Okay, Nathan Como, a 22-year-old University of Texas senior, told CNN that he left Buford's around 1:45 a.m. to get pizza from a food truck across the street. Just before 2 a.m., he and his friends suddenly heard gunshots. Said at first no one was panicking. There were probably 15 people eating pizza there, and we thought it was like fireworks or a car backfiring or something. They must not be black, baby, because if we'd heard that, we'd have already been taken off. Okay, please pay attention. Now, because no one initially ran, like the black people would, you mean? Okay, everyone kept eating. It wasn't until police arrived that they realized something was wrong. Honey, we'd have been gone long before that. Y'all hear this? Black people already know, honey, the first sign of trouble, get the hell up out of Dodge. And also, when you see one black person running or a group of black people running, you just run. You don't ask questions. We all know that, right? Clearly, they do not. Now, it goes on to say, we see the lights coming up, and then everyone starts running like, oh, God, like this is real. So people start running, and then the cops start running. They say the cops start running. Okay, please pay attention. Now, officials have not released the names or ages of the 2 people killed or the 14 injured. Okay, they say UT Austin President Jim Davis said the tragedy included members of our Longhorn family. Okay, our prayers are with the victims and all those impacted, he said in a statement. Paramedics in the area responded quickly, according to Robert Luckritz, Austin Travis County Emergency Medical Services chief. It says that we had more than 20 EMS resources that responded to the scene. He had all critical patients off the scene within 24 minutes and all patients off the scene within 47 minutes. Okay, Austin Mayor Kirk Watson offered his condolences to the victims and their families and praised first responders for their fearless rapid response. They definitely saved lives, he said. Now, 3 of those hospitalized were in critical condition. Governor Greg Abbott condemned the attack and directed the state's Department of Public Safety to increase patrols and law enforcement personnel in the 6th Street area on the weekends. Now, Abbott also warned the state would respond aggressively to anyone using the current conflict in the Middle East to threaten Texans. He ordered the Texas Military Department to activate patrols to protect communities and critical infrastructure, including energy facilities and ports. This act of violence will not define us, he said, nor will it shake the resolve of Texans. What do you all think about it all? This is just drastic. Okay, this is all drastic. The Busy Diva said, yes, I feel a lot of this will be propagandized. Oh, crazy. Yeah, the Chips were probably partying with them. Remember, there are a lot of organizations with alphabets, the highest NSA and CIA, and they have a lot of private contracts, and they'll go away before you find out about it. Okay, so now here is a picture of some service people they say are the ones that died. This was from someone on TikTok. I'm not sure, but I definitely know it wasn't those Black folk. Like I said, those people passed away in 2024. Still dead, but nonetheless. Okay.
It's been confirmed that the first U.S. service members have lost their lives in the war with Iran. It was reported earlier at 9:30 this morning on March 1st that 3 U.S. service members have been ended in the action and 5 are seriously wounded due to explosions in Kuwait. Several others sustained minor shrapnel injuries and concussions and are in the process of being returned to duty, and major combat operations will continue and the response will be ongoing. Now, this is coming after reports have also come out that the United States proposed an immediate ceasefire to Iran through a mediator after the opening strikes, and Iran rejected them. Asked about this, Donald Trump revealed that there is also a potential time frame now for the war with Iran, saying it's been a 4-week process since the beginning. We figured it would be about 4 weeks or so. And now officially between the United States and Israel, there have been more than 200 targets hit so far just in the past 36 hours. It has now been confirmed that the first
I don't know if those are the people that lost their lives or not, but prayers and condolences to the families of those soldiers that did lose their lives. This is also sad that many more are going to die. I actually think there's more than 3 people that are dead. I think that Trump is prepping us to give us the tally when he says there's going to be more lives lost. Yeah, he doesn't care about the lives being lost. He's trying to avoid prison. Let me tell you about something. Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, okay, as somebody called him Satan Yahoo. At the end of the day, they both know they're going to prison if it was specifically Trump, okay, when they lose the midterms. Benjamin Netanyahu, they already got him for war crimes, okay? They don't want to go to prison. That's why they started this war, as far as I'm concerned. Now, with that all being said, let's continue, because here's Ted Cruz to go in on Tucker Carlson about him condemning the strikes. I love it when the devils turn on each other.
About the differing views, let's say, inside your party about whether this is the right thing to do. Starting with the president himself campaigning on and saying in his inaugural address that there would be no more wars. And there were a fair number of Republicans who voted for him, liking that promise. Tucker Carlson is somebody who liked that promise. He told ABC that the president's decision to strike Iran is, quote, absolutely disgusting and evil. Your response?
So I will say your quote of the president was slightly off. He did not say there would be no more wars. He said there would be no more forever wars. Those are very different things. I emphatically agree with him. You are not going to see a major U.S. troop presence in Iran. He and I talked about that on Friday.
First of all, Trump said there would be no wars. He said he was going to be the president of peace. He said he was going to end wars. He said that he could stop the war between Russia and Ukraine within 24 hours. Now, why is Ted Cruz sitting up here and lying to our faces? Okay, no more forever wars, please.
They talked about Israel leading many of the attacks. We talked about targeted airstrikes, taking out the military capacity of the regime to attack the protesters. And I also urged arming the protesters so the people of Iran could fight back because they were.
Is that going to happen? That was one of my questions. Is
Forever
the U.S. going to help them?
I hope so. I do not know for sure. I did not get a clear answer on that. That is what I advocated for. Look, Tucker Carlson, as President Trump has said, Tucker Carlson is a kook. He's an isolationist. His views are fringe. And Tucker Carlson has spent the entire Trump presidency attacking President Trump, attacking his foreign policy, because Donald Trump is not an isolationist. He's not interested in sending our sons and daughters to be in extended wars and have major casualties.
Yes, the hell he is. What are you talking about? Okay, what are you talking about here? Yeah, of course he is. He has no problem with it because his children are not in there. Send Barron over there to fight in the war. Okay, why isn't Barron Trump sent over there? He's old enough. Please.
But he does understand that when faced with a serious threat, you act. It's why President Trump bombed the nuclear facilities in Iran. It's why President Trump arrested Maduro. And it's why now President Trump is acting decisively to take out a theocratic lunatic who pledges death to America. That's not a forever war. That is a commander-in-chief fulfilling his responsibility. And I think the Tucker Carlsons of the world represent a small fringe group in the Republican Party.
Here's my question. If they were yelling death to America for all this time, and that's why Trump wants to go in on them, why do you have to wait for Israel to go in? Why do you have to wait for Israel? Okay, if they were chanting death to America, okay, I'm just saying, make it all make sense. Now, Buckhorst DC, thank you for your contribution to the channel, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, someone asked me in the chat, hold on. Let me find that question. Someone asked me, hold on. So Chanel Madison said, so what's Trump going to prison for? Well, I don't know what he's going to prison for, but I know he should be going to prison for what he's been accused of in the Epstein files. And they do have a credible witness by the name of Katie Johnson, whose testimony was used to help send Ghislaine Maxwell to prison. Okay, so she's clearly credible. And she has some allegations against Trump that she's reported since 2016. Okay, that all being said, for war crimes, okay, he got this war started without congressional approval. Okay, he's been breaking all these rules with ICE out here, violating people's constitutional rights and all of that, not having warrants and kicking in doors, snatching up citizens. Okay, he said he was going to get the worst of the worst. Okay, people getting shot in their faces. A man shot 10 times when he was just trying to intervene, okay, to protect someone. All right, that's what he should be going to prison for. Okay, I'm sorry. Are you MAGA? Because if you are MAGA, you can leave because I don't care about MAGA nor Trump. Now let's continue.
Like them to be smaller and more fringe. I think they are wrong, and I think they are projecting their isolationism onto the president, and they're lashing out at President Trump because he has rejected their views as foolish and naive and misguided. And ironically, Tucker Carlson's views on Iran are the exact same as Barack Obama's views on Iran, and both of them are wrong.
Adrian said, doesn't he have immunity? He has immunity from things that he does while in office, sure. But at the end of the day, he doesn't have immunity from those Epstein files and the crimes that he's accused of in there. Okay, and the fact that the DOJ refuses to investigate the claims and wants to just simply be able to say they're unverified. Well, they're only unverified because nobody investigated them as of yet. Okay, now what we do know is that the young lady, Katie Johnson, they actually interviewed her 4 times. They don't interview anybody that many times unless what you're saying is credible and they know it. So they already have the goods, and I'm going to tell you all something here. Now, I told you all this before. The files that they have failed to release, the 50 terabytes of files, approximately, Those files, I'm pretty sure, have evidence on Trump, like video evidence, okay? There's a reason they're not letting those files out. And not only that, they're going to have in those files, and I've already told you this, I saw it in a dream, they're having those files, allegedly, that they were eating Black people and that they prefer to consume the Black children. Okay, I want you all to pay attention. And also, by the way, I have a little bit more information on that. Okay, please pay attention. Now, let's continue.
Senator Ted Cruz, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Ted Cruz needs to sit down somewhere. Okay, he's an idiot, as far as I'm concerned. Anybody listening to Trump and obeying his foolish commands has to be insane. Okay? Now, let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Let's go to Miss Jasmine Crockett.
Donald Trump decided to unilaterally and unconstitutionally drop bombs in Iran. As a member of the United States Congress, I am calling on the Speaker of the House to call us back in immediately so that we can deal with a war powers resolution. I've been warning of the fact that this administration and this president would put us into this scenario. I was concerned when he went into Venezuela because I said that because of the
And that's another thing I forgot. He also went over there and had President Maduro and his wife kidnapped without congressional approval. Here's the thing, though. You know, they give the president's immunity, but at the end of the day, when Trump gets impeached, he can absolutely go to prison. Y'all know that, right? They can charge him when he's impeached, okay? Now let's continue.
Of our Republican colleagues, this was going to give a permission structure for bad behavior. And that's exactly what we've seen. He is consistently dropping bombs and, as far as I'm concerned, engaging in wars that are illegal and unconstitutional. And I said, look at Donald Trump. Now, mind you, this is before he even got into office. Yeah. But right now, there are a lot of places that have a lot of problems with the United States. I disagree with Donald Trump. I really do know that it is a nightmare for so many people, not just here, but across the world. I get emails from all over this world with people that are fearful because of the lack of leadership that they're seeing right now. So I do think that there are a lot of people that, number one, want to make sure that there is somebody that will check him on their behalf.
Okay, let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, now they say Trump is all over the place. Okay, Trump has been all over the place on U.S. objectives for Iran strikes, reported 3 hours ago. Let's get into it. Then we're going to go to what the people are saying.
Conflict expanded into a new front just hours ago as Israel and the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah exchanged fire, shattering a truce that had been in place for about a year. Hezbollah says it was acting to avenge the death of Iran's supreme leader, and Israel responding in moves that threaten to expand the deadly conflict and destabilize the region as a whole. Video this morning shows explosions and smoke in the Lebanese capital of Beirut. Meanwhile, fire and thick black smoke were seen rising earlier near the U.S. Embassy in Kuwait as the State Department urges U.S. citizens to shelter in place there. Over the weekend, 3 U.S. service members were killed in action in Kuwait, the first Americans to die in the war with Iran, although President Trump acknowledged there, quote, likely will be more. Iran's retaliation to Operation Epic Fury has been expansive, targeting many of its Middle East neighbors. As the country's top national security leader said late last night, Tehran, quote, will not negotiate with the United States. President Trump, meanwhile, told The Atlantic he's open to speaking to Iran's new leadership without specifying whom those talks would be with. He also told the New York Times the attack could last 4 or 5 weeks, but he did not lay out a clear plan for how power might be transferred to a new government. ABC's Jonathan Karl says the president told him the U.S. had identified possible candidates to take over Iran, but they too were killed in the initial attack. Quote, it's not going to be anybody that we were thinking because they're all dead. Second or third place is dead.
Jonathan Lemire, give us your latest reporting from the White House.
So, Joe, obviously, this is a defining moment for this presidency. Someone who President Trump, of course, in 2016, we know, vowed to end the forever wars of Iraq and Afghanistan, vowed he would not be entangled in a new Middle Eastern conflict. That no longer the case. What we're seeing here is, we heard from President Trump, is a lack of messaging really to the nation. He's recorded 2 videos that were put out on Truth Social, but has yet to do an address, perhaps from the Oval Office.
Hold on, let me pause for a minute. Buckhurst, DC, stop putting foolishness in my chat. Nobody cares about your SEX life, okay? Do not put that in my chat again, okay? I'm going to put you in timeouts. All right, settle down. I don't know if you've been smoking this morning, but cut it out, okay? We're in here talking about serious business. I don't have time for games. I'm not in the mood. Now, with that all being said, the Business Diva said this morning, Pete Hegseth said they weren't following political correctness and stupid rules of engagement. He said they give no timeline. Yes, I heard that idiot. I heard him during the briefing. I listened to it before I started this live, honey. He needs to sit down somewhere, okay? Thank you for insight into the topic and your contribution to the channel, beloved. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. The Buckhurst, DC, I hope we don't have a problem. I'm going to need you to cut it out, though. Okay, let's continue. And listen, beloved, I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings, okay? Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm sitting here listening to this, and I don't even have it on the screen. Okay? Because Buckhurst, DC had me distracted. Hold on. Let me put it back on the screen, honey. I'm sorry. My apologies. I'm sitting here just listening, not even thinking about y'all can't see it. Let me go back. Okay, here we go. And we're about to go to the next clip. I'm going to roll it back so you all can hear what he said. Okay, there we go.
Were customary from presidents at a time of war. He has yet to field a single question in a news conference. He has, though, done a series of quick phone calls with reporters, although noting, as you were, Mika was starting to there, that messaging seemingly changing each and every time in terms of the length of this mission, some of the objectives of the mission, who might be next. And in that call with Jonathan Karl, it seems like they had identified possible leaders, but then whoops, killed them too. So that, I think, is unnerving some here at home who aren't sure how long this war will last, what its objectives might be, and how many more Americans may be killed. We know 3 already have. The president in his message yesterday sort of saying that's the way it is in terms of the cost of conflict, suggesting there will be more. And we've seen footage this morning of a fighter jet downed in Kuwait, though the pilot seems to have escaped. And Richard Haass, I mean, I'm talking to people in the White House who are certainly pleased with the military objectives so far. And Joe's right at the top of the show. Venezuela is the driving force behind all of this. That was such a success. It has inspired President Trump to believe he can do the same here. There's some who already think Cuba could be next. So the military objectives are strong, but Iran's retaliation.
Newsflash, they already said that Cuba's next. That's what they said. They already said that Cuba is next. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. These people are low down, honey. At the end of the day, they're already starving the poor Cubans, not allowing them to have any oil.
Has also been widespread despite the decapitation strike. So talk to us about what you've seen in this first day or two in terms of Iran's ability to respond despite the damage inflicted, but also the sort of lack of messaging from the president to make the case to Americans why this conflict is happening, why it's in their interest.
Well, Jonathan, if a word comes to mind for me to describe what's going on now, it's undisciplined. As disciplined as the United States has been on the military side of this war, we have been undisciplined on the foreign policy and political side. We have yet to make the case to the country and the world as to why this war had to happen now. The president's been all over the place as to U.S. objectives. And in the clip he showed at the beginning of the show, if the complete realization of all U.S. objectives has to happen before this war ends. This war is not going to end until literally the Iranian regime falls. That's not something under our control. That might not just be a question of days or weeks. That could be months or years. And that's where the Venezuela parallel comes in. This shows to me a profound misunderstanding of the DNA of Iran, the degree of institutionalization of political, clerical, ideological leadership. Hundreds of thousands of people in the security forces, both the Revolutionary Guards as well as the militia. So to think that somehow the two situations are in any way analogous or parallel is frightening to me. So again, what keeps coming back to me is a lack of discipline as to analysis, as to making the case for why we're doing this, and above all now for war aims and what's our definition of success. And what we're seeing with the Iranian reaction, Iran gets a vote. Yeah, we started the war, but it takes everybody to finish it. And that's the danger. This could be open-ended. And by not consulting with Congress or the American people, the president has put himself on a high wire without a net below. And likely one of two things are going to happen, Jonathan. Either he's going to have to walk back ambitious war aims, or he's going to lose support. I don't think, and history suggests, you cannot sustain support for a war that is costly and doesn't seem to be on a trajectory of success.
And doesn't have anything, shouldn't have anything to do with us, okay? Please pay attention. This is all crazy. Now let's go to this next clip. This guy says closing your eyes is going to make it go away. It darn sure isn't.
So remember when everybody said we don't want to talk about politics, when they were making us stand 6 feet apart and lying to us about how the virus spread, and lying to us about the numbers, lying to us about the treatment, lying to us about the lockdowns, lying to us about the vaccines, lying to us about the election. And if you said anything about it, you were a rabble-rouser and a conspiracy theorist.
Facts.
Lying to us about January 6th, lied to us about the 2020 election, still lying, open the border wide open, 300 and some thousand kids, undocumented, no paperwork, disappeared off the face of the earth, and nobody knows where they went in the protection.
Yep, I told you all those kids were missing, over 300,000. Okay, more like 380,000. Where the hell did those kids go? They didn't vanish into thin air. What do y'all think's going on with those children? Trafficking, that's what.
And in the custody of the United States government. And now they released a bunch of satanic child diddlers who are in control of everything in the world. And people are saying, we don't want to talk about that. When they called us all crazy just 4 or 5 years ago, when we were all talking about it. Just because it makes you uncomfortable don't mean you've got to get to ignore it. And just because you don't want to hear about it, think about it, or know about it, don't mean you get a pass on what's going on. Because what if it was your grandchild that they sacrificed to Baal and Moloch? What if it was your daughter? What if it was your son? Would you care then? Would you? Or would you say, we don't need to be distracted whether Epstein's alive or not? We don't need to be distracted whether this is going on or that's going on, because that's what you said when we told you about it before. And when they tell you to line up, take the mark, you're going to take it.
That's what y'all gonna do.
Because you did everything else they told you to.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Some of us ain't going to lay down anymore. The church either wakes up, or the church, lukewarm, is going to get spit out of Jesus Christ's mouth because you make him vomit.
Okay, please pay attention. Listen, I told you all, some people don't want to do anything. They want to act like it's nothing to see here, folks. Okay, they want to act like, okay, everything's just life is normal. Because they're cowards, because they don't want to do anything. At the end of the day, those are the people that are going to walk blindly right back to the plantation. That's what they're going to do. You're going to line up, just like he said, and I've told you all this before, you're going to line up and get the mark, okay? Y'all know some of y'all are going to do it. At the end of the day, the people that were going in on me or trying to talk slick when I was saying that we need to be doing something, boycotting, doing something, after we heard about what's happened to these children in the files, how in the hell can anybody not be upset about that? Okay, how can you not be upset? I don't care what color the children were, they're children. Some of y'all thought it wasn't any black children involved, so I guess you didn't care much. Children are children. But at the end of the day, just for your FYI, there are black children involved, okay? If that made the difference. Now let's continue.
This top general has come out and said that America does not have the resources or the ammunition or the manpower to fight a war with Iran.
Now I want y'all to pay attention to this because the top general said this, okay? A top general said this, and you know that it's likely true because why? It's France and UK talking about getting involved, joining in, okay? If the U.S. was doing everything so tight and they were winning and all of that, and they weren't getting lit the hell up, why y'all need France and UK? You already got you in Israel. But let's continue. Because, you know, they say that the money that they've been squandering, you know, should have been used on things for their military.
This is coming from America's top general. I said this, I've been saying this for weeks. But the American people, you still think that your military is the baddest dude on the block, and it's not. The American military over the past 20 years has lagged behind. It has suffered greatly because of politicians and their greed to put money in their pockets. Your president is leading you into certain destruction. When the top general in the American military comes out and says, we can't win, what does that tell you? It tells you the only reason that Donald Trump wants to go to war is so that him and Benjamin Netanyahu can stay out of prison.
That's right.
Most of Americans can see this. The sick MAGA cult is the only ones that still can't see it. We have to do everything that we can to get this animal out of our White House.
That's right.
He is completely destroying our country.
Absolutely.
God loves you. I love you.
Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. So I told y'all Trump was going to have us in a whole war with Iran, and here we are. How many times I got to say it? But here's the thing. That top general ain't lying. Because according to my calculations, Iran possesses a serious, substantial arsenal of conventional weapons, primarily focused on the largest and most diverse ballistic missile and drone inventory in the Middle East. Okay? Their capabilities include, but are not limited to, cruise missiles, anti-ship missiles, fast attack boats, and sophisticated loitering munitions. Despite international sanctions and recent military losses, Iran maintains significant hardened underground missile production and storage facilities, allowing them to strike regional targets. Okay. Please pay attention. They didn't come to play is all I'm saying. An estimated inventory of over 3,000 missiles, including short-range SRBMs and medium-range MRBMs capable of hitting Israel and U.S. bases. Drones, large numbers of attack drones designed to evade defense systems. Okay, you won't even attack them. Okay, cruise missiles includes land attack cruise missiles such as the KH-55 with a range of up to 3,000 kilometers. Naval capabilities, fast attack boats and anti-ship missiles capable of disrupting regional maritime traffic. Extensive use of unmanned systems and support for proxy forces in the region. Okay, now, while Iran is not known to possess nuclear weapons, they have the knowledge and infrastructure to produce them in a short time if they choose to do so. They are, however, a signatory to treaties repudiating the development of weapons of mass destruction. Let us hope that they don't actually have them, okay? Like Netanyahu has been saying since 1996. All right, fear-mongering. That all being said, let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
Let us not whisper it. Let us say it loudly and let it shake the rafters. 150 little girls went to school and did not come home. 150 futures folded into dust and concrete and smoke. We can debate doctrine until our mouths are dry. We can cite treaties and precedents and doctrines of imminence. We can argue about centrifuges and missile ranges and proxy networks, but none of those words will tuck a child into bed tonight. None of them will quiet a mother's scream when the call comes that the building's gone. So don't sanitize it. A school was struck. Desks were splintered. Backpacks were buried. The air was filled with dust and fire. And somewhere tonight, there are fathers staring at small shoes that'll never be worn again. If that doesn't pierce the soul of you, then what exactly are we defending? Yes, the Iranian regime was authoritarian. Yes, dissent was crushed. Yes, many Iranians long for something freer, but unpopularity is not a license to execute. Tyranny does not suspend sovereignty at the whim of another state. If it did, then every powerful nation would reserve for itself the right to eliminate leaders it dislikes. That's not order. That is precedent for permanent war. And here's the dangerous logic that hums beneath that. There was a threat, but there's always a threat. In the modern age, threat is elastic. It stretches to fit whatever fear we need it to justify. Missiles and bunkers, uranium and centrifuges, militias and borderlands, cyber code and shadow networks. If that qualifies as imminent, then imminence has lost its meaning. If hostility is enough, then every adversary is a future battlefield. And if every adversary is a battlefield, then peace is just an illusion that we pretend to value. We are told this is strength. We are told this is deterrence. We are told that this is necessary. But strength without restraint is not strength. It is just impulse dressed in a uniform. Deterrence that escalates into open conflict is not peace through strength. It is war through momentum. And let us be honest with ourselves about momentum, because once the machinery of war begins to turn, it doesn't hum softly, it roars, it consumes, it demands replenishment contracts and supplemental budgets and deployments for the foreseeable future. It creates constituencies who benefit from its continuation. This is not conspiracy. This is political economy, and it is the history of the United States. We have attacked a sovereign nation. We have killed its supreme leader. We have struck inside its territory. We have seen a school reduced to rubble and little bodies pulled from concrete. And we have heard language about foreseeable conflict. Foreseeable conflict. That phrase should chill anyone who remembers how these stories unfold. We destabilize, we degrade infrastructure, we decapitate leadership. We speak of liberation, and then the vacuum comes where militias rise and hardliners consolidate. Regional powers meddle, and the moderates we claim to defend disappear between rubble and revenge. And when the dust settles, we ask why the next authoritarian has emerged from the wreckage we created. Institutional memory matters. Iraq taught us that removing a regime without preserving the skeleton of the state invites chaos. Libya taught us that air power is not a governance plan. Afghanistan taught us that 20 years of war cannot manufacture legitimacy where political settlement never existed. So the questions must be asked, and they must be asked loudly, clearly, and repeatedly. What is the political end state? Not the military objective, the political end state. What replaces what we've just shattered? Who governs? Who secures the borders? Who protects civilians tomorrow? Where is Congress in this? What authorization governs this conflict? What metrics determine success? What prevents this from metastasizing across the region? What is the stabilization architecture? What's the timeline? And yes, who profits? History shows us that defense contractors expand when wars do. That's not conspiracy. It is ledger books and budget supplements. Once the machinery of war turns, it generates those contracts. Momentum without defined off-ramps becomes inertia. This is not about hating an administration. It is not about partisan fury. It is about whether the decisions being made demonstrate deep institutional knowledge and long-term vision for the citizens of the United States. Leadership is not a game show. It is not branding. It is not spectacle. It is stewardship of the consequences. And when the president acts from a resort instead of the situation room, perhaps the geography doesn't matter technically, but symbolically it speaks to something people feel. A sense that the gravity has been replaced by improvisation, a sense that the weight of history is being handled lightly. Maybe there are rooms full of serious planners modeling contingencies. If so, show us. Democracy demands visibility. Anger here is not the enemy, though. Apathy is. There are moments when raised voices are not destabilizing, they are necessary. Citizens have every right to shout these questions at power, not to burn down the republic, not to abandon law, but to insist that war be justified, authorized, limited, and planned beyond the next news cycle. We can support security without surrendering scrutiny. We can reject authoritarianism abroad without normalizing assassination as policy. We can insist that America act with strength without confusing strength for perpetual escalation. And above all, we can remember that children do not belong in our doctrinal debates. If those answers exist, show them to us. Democracy is not strengthened by secrecy in matters of war. It is strengthened by debate, authorization, and defined limits. And do not tell the American people that we are too small to question this. Do not tell us that anger is unpatriotic. There is a long and sacred tradition in this country of citizens raising their voice when war is entered to without clarity. Anger, when disciplined, is not chaos. It is a moral force. It is the same force that once demanded civil rights, the same force that once demanded accountability after corruption, the same force that once filled the streets when wars dragged on without end. If we are wrong, show us why with evidence. This action reduces long-term risk. Prove it with transparent strategy. If this prevents catastrophe, articulate how. But do not ask us to accept dead children and open-ended conflict as the price of your brand. 150 girls. I'll say it again. 150 girls. They will not grow up to debate geopolitics. They won't vote. They will not dissent. They will not reform their country from within. They will not build bridges between nations because they are gone. And if we cannot let that fact bend our own rhetoric toward humility and gravity, then we are drifting somewhere dangerous. We deserve leadership that understands history, leadership that respects law, leadership that weighs long-term consequences over short-term theater, leadership that knows war is not branding and foreign policy is not performance. We deserve better than improvisation in a region that is already soaked in blood. So, here's the hammer. Strength is not the volume of your strike. It is the wisdom of your restraint. And peace is not the silence after a missile hits. It is the stability that follows years later. If there is no plan for that stability, then this is not a strategy. It is escalation. And the American people have every right to demand that war be more than reaction, more than optics, more than momentum. Because if we do not demand wisdom right now, we will inherit the consequences later.
Okay, no lies detected. And that man's very well spoken. Is it just me, or did his words almost sound like poetry that just didn't rhyme? Okay, that just didn't rhyme. Now I want y'all to pay attention, because here's the thing. Y'all do remember, well, some of y'all don't read and research, so clearly you won't know what I'm about to say about, speak about. But here's the thing. Do you all remember, some of you may have read about the the Iran hostage crisis, okay? The Iran hostage crisis, November the 17th of 1979. You may have read about it, but here's the thing. When that all happened, did you know that the Ayatollah Khomeini, yeah, he ordered the release of the black folks first. Did y'all know that? He ordered the release of the black people first. All right? And that's for a reason. Now, and black people are all over TikTok telling Iran that we ain't got nothing to do with it. The black folk are in Iran telling them we ain't got nothing to do with it all, okay? I want y'all to pay attention. They know who the devils are. It ain't us, okay? It's MAGA. MAGA is the devil. They're the devils, okay? The minions. All right? We've been sending them messages. Please pay attention. Here's one right here.
For Iran.
Okay? I'm sorry. Yeah, Jesse Jackson helped negotiate it. I reported that on his death date when I reported about his death. But nonetheless, like I said, they let the black folk go first. Okay, please pay attention. It was black women actually, or black and female hostages. That's what it was. It was the black people and the women, okay, that they let go first. And all in all, it was like 13 people released, okay, because they were perceived as oppressed minorities and as unlikely to be spies. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. I'm just saying, when they start dropping them things over here in the US, if they do, some of y'all might be in hot spots. Some of you all might be in hot spots because we already know the targeted cities here and states. Okay? Now, with that all being said, let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. This is all about to get real ugly. This is the, hold on, is this what I'm looking for? Hold on, beloveds. Now I want you all to listen to this because this man says that those people whom we shan't mention supposedly hacked his personal information. I don't know if I can substantiate this. This is what he claimed on his video. Hold on. Okay, so for some reason it's not loading. Okay, let me continue. I'll try to go back to it later to see if in fact it loads. Okay, here we go.
Remember a couple of weeks ago, all those grown men in suits clutching their pearls because kids walked out of school to protest? Disrespectful, truancy. They don't understand the world. Oh, really? Because now the same folks are beating the war drums about Iran, talking regime change, like we didn't already try that in Iraq, like that didn't bleed us out for 20 years in Afghanistan. Now, suddenly those immature kids, those naive teenagers, they're about to get bombarded with glossy pamphlets from military recruiters, lunchroom pitches, promises of college money and courage and country. So let me get this fucking straight. They're not old enough to recognize injustice, but they're old enough to carry a rifle in the desert. Not mature enough to skip algebra for a protest, but mature enough to skip their fucking 20s for a flag-draped coffin. You can't say a kid's brain isn't developed enough to dissent, then turn around and decide it's developed enough to die. If they're too young to protest your power, they're too young to be sacrificed for it. That's not patriotism, it's fucking convenience. And these kids, they understand that better than the people in charge.
Okay. No lies detected. So sister said we're living in a lawless society. Absolutely. Absolutely. Ever since Trump got in office.
Forgive or forget MAGA for voting for a felon. Let me preface this whole rant by saying I'm not going to discuss my past, but I know how cults work, how preaching gets used to gaslight people. I've seen it firsthand. So when I see these former Trump supporters, mostly white Christian women, posting videos saying they regret their vote, I don't feel moved. I don't feel sympathy. What I see is learned martyrdom, because that's what Republican evangelical culture does. It trains their followers early to equate suffering with righteousness. You're taught that enduring hate makes you holy. You're taught that attention, even negative attention, confirms you're on the right path. So when these ex-MAGAs post their "I was wrong about Trump" videos, they're not asking for accountability. They're chasing martyrdom. And we're probably going to see an onslaught of these people saying, "This is not what I voted for." When you see one of these posts starting off with, "I know I'll get hate for this," no, they're not doing it for the greater good. They're doing it for themselves. They want the hate. They want the hateful comments. It inflames their fantasy. The outrage is confirmation that they're just like Jesus, hated, misunderstood, crucified for telling the truth. It gives them a nice little neat emotional arc. They confess, they suffer.
Yeah, that's what a lot of them are doing. They have buyer's remorse, and I'm not trying to hear it. Okay, I'm not here for any of it. Okay, quite frankly, they can miss me with it. Now, with that all been said, it looks like Trump is speaking. Breaking news on MSN or MS Now. He's supposed to be speaking about the strikes. Let's go to it. Covering all of his criminal information. Well, you're welcome, beloved. Thank you, beloved. Okay, here we go. Let's go to this real quick while we're waiting for Trump.
Burns, who was on Capitol Hill this morning. Caitlin, what is the latest that we're hearing from lawmakers on their war powers vote? What does it expect to do, and how many do they think they have the votes?
Well, Adriana, there has long been a push for Congress to exercise some authority here, and there's been a push in the House and the Senate to push a resolution to essentially say the administration can't act further without buy-in, weigh-in from Congress. Now, those bills in the House and the Senate are a huge uphill climb, and a lot will be riding on what lawmakers hear in these briefings that you mentioned. The briefings will start today, this afternoon, late this afternoon. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the CIA Director Ratcliffe will be up here on Capitol Hill briefing the members of the Gang of Eight. These are the top leadership positions in Congress, as well as the top leaders on the intelligence committees in both the House and the Senate. Those briefings begin today, and further briefings for the full Congress will take place starting tomorrow and throughout the week. So there are a lot of questions about the scope of this, given that the president himself has called this a war. There have already been 4 U.S. casualties. The president said that those, American heroes, in his words, could die in these efforts, and there is not a clear sense of how long this will last. So will there be more needed from Congress in terms of approving funds? That could, be some of the things that fall into this conversation. But I will tell you, there's some nuance here. You see Republicans, by and large, reinforcing the president. But Democrats are a little bit divided. There is a handful of Democrats in the House who said that they won't support this war powers resolution because it doesn't give enough flexibility to the executive to work here. So we're watching to see whether what we hear in these briefings and what the president himself says, if he does in fact elaborate on the overall scope and longevity of this operation, that will inform how lawmakers up here are thinking.
And Caitlin, we just spoke with the representative from Washington, Susan DelBene, and we asked her about this war powers resolution. Here's what she said.
Coming to Congress asking for authorization if folks want to support a particular action because a case has been made, then people can vote yes. But there needs to be a vote. There needs to be, the president needs to come to Congress requesting an authorization for use of military force. And then people, based on the information that's provided, can make their decision. The president cannot move unilaterally. He is not a king. He cannot move without coming to Congress. And he campaign talked about preventing and ending forever wars. Over and over and over, he has broken promises to the American people.
Even if this resolution were to pass, the president has to sign it. And where do the votes stand? Are Democrats all united against this or for this resolution?
That's right. The president would have to sign this, which likely wouldn't do. And it's notable that not all Democrats are on board. The congresswoman you just spoke to is representative of leadership, which has rallied around this. But there are some rank and file members who are not inclined to support this. The other item, Adriana, is to point out that Congress has long ceded its authority on war powers to the executive, predating Trump. I mean, going back over 20 years, there is a resolution that Congress passed in the days after 9/11 that gave broad authority to the executive to authorize strikes. And they have kind of relied on that for nearly 25 years, kind of referred back to that. Congress has declined to weigh in on some instances in previous administrations, hasn't had the chance to in others. So this does, present a different dynamic, given that the president, as I said, has been calling this a war, that the Secretary of Defense has been calling this a war. So the language here will be important in terms of how Congress assesses this going forward.
All right, Kaylee Hewen-Burns, we know you're going to be on top of it from the Capitol. We appreciate it.
If Trump's talking yet. Okay, I just saw Susie Wiles come through. So maybe he's about to get started. I just saw Susie Wiles come through. So let's go to it and see what's going on here. Okay, let's go to this TikTok while we're waiting, beloveds. Okay. I'll go back in a second and see if they're on there. If Trump is ready to speak. Let's go to this TikTok while we're waiting, beloveds. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Hold on. Here we go.
I'm scrolling through my For You page and I stumble across a video from Christina Talks Tea. Now, mind you, this is the first time I've received this message since being back from the band. And why this popped up? Consider the accuracy of what you're sharing. Remember to check the information in this video with reliable sources. Now, you know me, I still shared anyway. And then I got this. Sharing is limited to one chat at a time. This is to help limit the spread of potentially harmful content. Mind you, this post was made back in December. And we're now getting this message after the ban.
They banned Christina's channel. You all remember Christina with the T, the lady who looks like Betty Boop. Okay, so they're targeting creators. Okay, they took her whole channel. Luckily, she had a backup channel so we could follow her on it, but they actually took her whole channel. And then there's a guy who said that those people in that land that we can't speak on, y'all know who I'm talking about. Evil is real. Say that quick. Now, he says that they targeted his channel or they hacked his personal information. That's what he said. He said they hacked his personal information and he has to go to court. He's got a lawyer. All this drama's going on. There's a person who works for TikTok who's going to testify on his behalf, who has said that they were told to do these things, allegedly. Now, with that all being said, I want you to see what comes up when I go to the video that he posted about this, that I just saw last night. Or shall I say early this morning? Here's what it shows. Look at this. Where's the video? Normally it would say the video was removed or something like that, you know, or video unavailable. It doesn't say anything. That's what it says when I try to go to his channel. So I want you all to pay attention because, you know, I told you all weeks ago who now owns a portion of TikTok, a man by the name of Robert Ellison. Okay. And that man also, according to sources, I just found out yesterday that he also now owns a portion of Netflix and I want to say Warner Brothers and maybe Disney and all of that. So I want y'all to pay attention. We need to start boycotting these people. Okay. That's what we need to start doing. We need to start boycotting these people. Okay. Hacking people's personal information. What the hell is that all about? What's that all about? And then here's the thing. I want you to pay attention because it gets worse. He also said that he was targeted and stopped by ICE and they threatened to deport him. And when he had his birth certificate and all of that, well, he says that his birth certificate had been changed, that there was fraudulent information on the birth certificate, that was AI, and that the person from TikTok that knows about all of this told him, they admitted to him and his attorney. Because here's the thing, when you're on TikTok or any of these social media platforms, if you want to know who's like targeting your channel, like mass false flagging you and things like that, you have to get an attorney and have them subpoena the records. You can do that. I've told you all that before. Okay. But at the end of the day, he says that the person that works at TikTok said, basically admitted that he was targeted. And that AI was used to change his information or something like that. I wish I could show you all the video, but as you see, it's not able to be found, which I find even further suspicious. And now, you know, this is all alleged. I'm just telling you all what he said. But hacking his personal information. And this is a white man, by the way. This is a white man. Deport him to where? Deport him to where? Okay, I told y'all they would be deporting citizens. I told you all that, you know. But anyway, I'm still waiting on Trump. Still no sign of him yet. I just wonder what he has to say about all of this at the end of the day. Rich said all these platforms have been backdoored. Exactly. Okay. Exactly. Absolutely. I mean, I just showed you all the video the other day where Netanyahu said, and I quote, he was talking about TikTok, he was talking about Instagram and Facebook, and then he said they have Elon Musk, who's a friend to them. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Mark Zuckerberg owns Facebook and Instagram. Who is Mark Zuckerberg? Okay, one of those people. And then you have Robert Ellison, like I told you all, now partial owner to Netflix and Warner Brothers, and I think even Disney, but also TikTok. One of those people. Okay? That's it right there. That's it right there. All right, let me see if I can find another update while we wait to see what Trump is talking about. I'm sure it's more lies. This is all so crazy. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Okay, so while we're waiting on Trump, let's just go to another topic that I wanted to get into. Hold on. Let me pull this up. Let's talk about Epstein while we're waiting, because Epstein's not going anywhere. I know Trump thinks that we're going to get distracted, but we're not. We're absolutely not. Okay, let's talk about Epstein while we wait for Trump.
Listen, this video is crazy. And this lady, well, first off, in the video I posted yesterday in my subscription, the man said when they tested the ground beef, it was over 13,000 strands. I'm sorry, 1,300 strands of DNA in one patty of meat. One. And this lady is saying that there is more human meat in the beef than there is cow meat in the beef. Not even just beef, any type of ground up meat.
So I can't substantiate this, but let me just tell you all, I can't substantiate what she's saying, but someone did say that, and she's going to play the clip, I do believe. But let me tell you all this. About 2 or 3 nights ago, me and my best friend were talking, and we were talking about the allegations of the cannibalism and the Epstein files and about the allegations of it being in the McDonald's and fast foods and all these things. So I told my friend, I said, here's the thing though, if in fact this is true, then some people would likely get something from being cannibals. Then people would likely contract something similar to mad cow disease, in my opinion, because mad cow disease, that basically came from cows being fed the remains of other cows, supposedly, okay, from my research from a few years ago. Now, we know cows are supposed to be herbivores, okay, not strictly omnivores, but herbivores. So are herbivores. Now, with that all being said, hold on. Desmond, did you send me something? Hold on. Here comes the bullshit. Let me see what this is. Let me see what this is here. Hold on. Let me let this continue to play.
Any ground up meat. Look at this video.
In fact, a good portion of it is all human meat. All human. It's all human. The amount of people killed, sacrificed, ground up, and fed back to you is more than the cattle that's on the earth. Let's put it that way. Okay? We would steer clear of any type of ground meat unless you literally are getting it from a farm where they process their food right there and then, in which case, really it's usually a farm. They've got a little store there. They've got, their own package system, their own meat system. Short of that, we wouldn't recommend any type of ground meat to be consumed if you're concerned with whether you're participating in cannibalism or not. And the biggest issue, besides the obvious, for most people, moral issue of eating another human being, is the energy behind it. And also, your bodies are not designed to consume each other, so they cause it causes health problems as well. And
so let me say this. The reason I brought up what me and my best friend were talking about the other night is because I told her that I believe people would get something that's similar to mad cow disease from if people were eating people. So when I was looking at this video, there was a comment of a woman who said her father passed away 2 years ago. And she said that he had something that the doctors said was similar to mad cow disease. And she said her father used to eat McDonald's all the time. Okay, I'm just telling y'all what she said. I can't substantiate any of this. And I can't even substantiate what this lady's saying, okay? Just for the record.
And things of that nature. And we know that you all have participated in it so far in your lives. Everybody's been eating this stuff. Everybody's been eating the fast food hamburgers. Everybody's been eating the ground up stuff and things like that. But we're just telling you that it's mostly human meat. It's mostly human meat. And a lot of it is other animals as well that you don't realize that they get rid of when they euthanize animals. And that's the hard truth.
No wonder.
Most of the celebrities, the high-ranking celebrities, politicians, and things of that nature, they're on a purely cannibalistic diet. All of the meat that they eat are humans. And so they've got human meat processing plants. And they're not very hidden. They're pretty much, broadcast and out in the open. It's just that nobody wants to deal with that. Nobody wants to deal with that while they're lined up in the line to get their fast food burgers.
I absolutely have heard enough. Okay, I don't eat fast food like that, so I definitely don't eat McDonald's. I haven't eaten McDonald's in about 15 years because I've been heard this stuff about McDonald's. Been heard it. And when I heard it, to me, it came from the horse's mouth. Okay? For me, it came from the horse's mouth. There was a man who worked with the health department in Oklahoma City, and he was talking about it, and he had tears. He literally sounded like he was about to cry when speaking about it, so I believed it. I believed him. He could have been lying, but I absolutely believed him. And I haven't eaten McDonald's since. Okay, miss me with it. Now, here's someone else talking about what they saw in the Epstein files that they feel pertains to cannibalism, just like I told you all. Okay, just like I told you all at the end of the day. Michael Park says old news. Well, you know, it is old news for some, but for some people, they're just finding out. And if it's still going on till this day, if true, then it wouldn't be really old news.
Seems to be another reference to cannibalism in the Epstein files. So the man in that video was Sultan bin Sulayem. He's a very powerful individual from Saudi Arabia, a businessman, a very, very wealthy, elite individual. And there are tons of interactions between this guy and Epstein that we could cover, which I'm going to in upcoming videos, but I want to focus on this one email right now. So as you can see right here, Epstein writes, "Does Ambani want fish?" February 20th, 2017. Then later that day, Sultan bin Sulayem, he writes, "He is vegetarian, no flesh of any kind." Smiley face. Also got to note that is a creepy smiley face. I feel like I haven't seen a smiley face since I was in 8th grade that looked like that. That was like when I was texting my first crush using. I mean, it's a very childish little smiley face. But then Epstein responds to Sultan bin Sulayem after saying no flesh of any kind. Okay, even Irish? So what does that mean in this context? There are a couple different interpretations there. One, obviously, if you want to go with the more extreme version, you're talking about eating somebody. He doesn't want flesh of any kind. Epstein is surprised. Even Irish flesh? You don't want to eat an Irish woman? But there's also the trafficking angle, which, you know, I'm more inclined to believe would be the explanation here. Saying, you know, there's Irish flesh. I don't really know. I mean, it's really confusing, but clearly it could also just be a joke, obviously, which I think it might have been, but you still just never know. Because even if this message seemed to be more of a joke, something off the cuff, there are tons of videos and photographs within the files that are definitely not jokes, that do contain extremely alarming photos and videos and testimonies. And I think each and every one of these messages needs to be investigated, and each and every person needs to be investigated as well, including guys like this. But until we start seeing those investigations worldwide, I hate to tell you this, but nothing's going to change. The power structures are going to remain the same. The pedophiles will remain in power. If you believe in it, cannibals will keep eating babies and children. And unfortunately, the world will just keep on spinning.
Absolutely nefarious. Okay. Oh, so crazy. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Okay, here we go.
It was beef jerky because it wasn't no beef. Francis Derby, that owns the restaurant Cannibal, should be able to tell us what it was. Or maybe this woman, Jenny Enterprise, that said the beef jerky tasted so good. Did you all know that countries in Africa were suing Jeffrey Epstein for kidnapping, sex trafficking, and a myriad of other charges for the children of Africa? Where are these Black children? Where are the Black victims in the Jeffrey Epstein case? Happy Black History Month. Where are they? Because based on a lot of these messages, Jeffrey Epstein did not have a propensity to be intimate with Black women. So what did he do with the Black children and the women that they were kidnapping? Where are they? I'ma say it. I'm scared the beef jerky was Black children, because it was not food based on this communication. It says Jeffrey is not eating regular food anymore. He's eating beef jerky. This man was obsessed with beef jerky. Writing his chef, Francis Derby, damn near ready to fire the man because he was missing out on beef jerky. These women that supposedly were victims and turned into groomers were being taught how to prepare beef jerky. I ain't never seen someone so obsessed with beef damn jerky. And you know why? Because it wasn't beef jerky. I'm telling y'all, go through these messages. You know, Jeffrey didn't like how the beef jerky tastes. Jeffrey didn't like, is he going to get beef jerky? You going to drop off the beef jerky? Can you have to check in the beef jerky? Last time, it's all about beef damn jerky. Obsessed with it. He's saying, I'm eating all protein. And they're saying they eating steaks, they eating beef jerky, they eating white tuna. White tuna don't seem to me like it was white tuna either. But in terms of Black History Month today, I want to know, where are the Black victims of Jeffrey Epstein? I right now not seeing any Black victims come out, but we know they were there. Where are they? Where are the Black victims of Jeffrey Epstein? Were they being fed to him? Huh? Francis Derby from the Cannibal restaurant, you were so pressed to prepare this beef jerky for this man all the time, batches of beef jerky. Francis, what was the beef?
I told y'all. I told y'all about the beef jerky weeks ago. I told y'all. I told you about the beef jerky weeks ago. I also told you they were eating Black people weeks ago. I told y'all this. I told you there's no Black survivors coming forward because they're all dead. Okay, they ate them and they threw some of them to the alligators. Some of them died in hunting parties. If you don't believe that, go listen to the full recordings of Sasha Riley, whom I let you all listen to some of it. I played some of it for you, and I told you all that Sasha Riley said that he witnessed, okay, a Black girl by the name of Samantha being tortured to death. And once she was dead, and the police showed up, and I don't know why the police showed up. I can't remember what he said about that, but nonetheless, when the police showed up and there was blood on the floor, they lied and said that she had in fact run away, that she was already a runaway when she came there, and that she had run away again. That's what they said. I showed you all the proof where they said snipe hunt is over. The moon crickets, which is a slur for Black folk, the moon crickets are in field bags. Guess who they are? They're jiggers. I showed y'all that. Okay? I showed y'all that. So I told you all they were eating Black people. Some of y'all didn't want to believe it because you didn't see any pictures. You didn't read about it or whatever. I told you all. How does that not make sense that they were eating Black people? You know, I read long ago because I've been researching all this stuff for a decade. I told y'all that. This is stuff that I told you all in 2020. Y'all know it when I had Hillary's emails. It's the same soup twice warmed over because some of the stuff in the Epstein files is some of the same stuff in Hillary Clinton's emails. And I told you all this in 2020. Now, with that all being said, and that's why I got shadow banned. But with that all being said, at the end of the day, they ate our ancestors during slavery. So I said, you don't think they're eating our people now? And just because there's no Black victims coming forward doesn't mean there were no Black people killed, okay? Please pay attention. I also showed you all the paperwork where they were talking about the Africans, the Nigerian women, and the Jamaicans, and all of that, okay? So with that all being said, it was obvious to me what happened to them. Obvious to me. They're all dead. That's where they are. Okay, probably buried at Zorro Ranch, the ones that were buried, some of them consumed, in my opinion. Okay, in my opinion. So now, with that all being said, Trump still hasn't come yet. I don't know what the holdup is. But somebody said that this is who y'all voted for. And there's going to be more stuff that comes out about the Black people when and if the rest of those files are released, because it's hidden in the files, okay? There's also a whole lot of videos in the files that's showing people, you know, doing certain things and all of that. That's what's in the files, okay? I told you all I dreamt it. And y'all know my dreams are very accurate, okay? Which is how I can tell you all things years in advance before they actually happen, all right? So with that all been said, listen to this.
Of Iran, you are fucking with the wrong nigga. I'm being dead ass. I'm that type of nigga who got shooters on speed dial ready to pull up and walk your whole regime down. You all out here flexing with the.
Y'all heard that? Y'all see what happened to Jim Carrey? He was deleted for talking. I don't put anything past these devils. So now they report that another soldier has died. Okay. Just anticipate said, heck, that may not be AI. You know that was AI. That wasn't the real Forrest Trump. Okay, that wasn't the real Forrest Trump. Clearly. Now, with that all being said, this woman was asking yesterday. I'm going to go to the video. This white woman was asking a question yesterday. She wanted to know, why are y'all laughing? Talking about, Queen, you're a mess. What did I do? What did I do, beloveds? Now listen. This white woman was asking yesterday, what is it about Black people that makes us so targeted? She was like, Black people, do y'all have something special about you? Is there something about you? Like, she wanted us to tell her, like, if we had superpowers or something. Ma'am, we're not telling you that. Okay, we're not telling you that. We all just told her the same thing. We're the chosen people, and we left it at that. Okay, here it is right here. Let me pull this up. All right.
I would ask my people of color to stick with me for just a minute because I want to ask you a question. I'm probably going to sound really stupid. So please, if anything I say sounds offensive, it's not meant to be offensive. It's because I'm learning and I don't have the correct vocabulary. So if you haven't followed me, I'm an attorney. I've worked in the criminal justice system. I know there's systemic oppression. I have seen it. I have fought against it. I have children who are biracial, and I have seen how people look at me when I walk into the store with my daughters versus without my daughters. I've seen it. I know I only have just the slightest idea of what my people of color have gone through over the years, but I know that it's real. But I also know that I don't know very much because I was raised the privilege that this skin and my blue eyes allowed me to have. And school was easy for me. So, I didn't have trouble in school. So I was able to be educated. All the privilege that comes with that I now acknowledge that I didn't even know what it was until, really I started opening my eyes to it in Black Lives Matter. And realizing how bad systemic racism is across the board. But I have an idea, and again, I'm probably going to sound stupid because I bet you guys have known this for centuries, that the reason that Black people especially and have been persecuted is I think you guys have some stuff that we don't have. I mean, I think you may have some power, I don't know what else to call it, spiritual closeness, something that I've been a person of faith my whole life, and I love Jesus, and I've always sought after Jesus, but my whole religious foundation is crumbling because I'm.
Let me tell you all something. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to say this lady isn't a good and genuine person. I'm not going to say that because she seems to be. She seems as though she means well, right? She seems as though she means well, but here's the thing. Why is she asking us this all of a sudden at this opportune time? Well, I happen to think that because whatever it is that she thinks that we have, that she wants some, or see if she can extract it from her biracial children. Because times are hard and the debts are high. We want to smile, but we have to sigh. And Kara's pressing us down a bit. Okay? Please pay attention. All right? That's a quote from the poem, Don't Quit. But here's the thing. You see, people are getting desperate. And there was a white woman I remember some years ago who said, and I quote, and I showed you all that video years ago too, back in 2020, when this white woman was on the street and a Black guy was going around asking people if they date interracially, and she said yes, she prefers to date interracially. And he asked her, why would you do that? And she said because she wanted to maintain her legacy. She wanted her children to be able to, have melanin, okay? And so more melanin so they could be here in the future. Is that why she's asking us that? I have questions. Okay, I have questions, but whatever she's asking, she got no answers. Because like I said, we all told her, ma'am, we're just the chosen people that the Bible speaks of. And we left it all at that. We all said the same thing across the board. Okay, because ma'am, whatever we got going on, if you don't already know, we ain't going to tell you. All right? Because the devils know. That's why they be targeting us so. Now, Pensacola said, have a beautiful day. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you and your kind words and your contribution. Peace, love, and blessings. Okay, Trump still has not come out. What's he doing trying to get his lies together, pray tell?
Seeing all the lies in the church. I still love Jesus and what he taught. But is there a place you guys could point me to try to read about that, to learn about that? Am I off base, or I know I'm probably so late to the.
Here's the thing. Why would she need to read about it or learn about it? It's not going to benefit you if it's for us, right? So why would she need to know? Ask yourselves, okay? Ask yourselves, why would she need to know?
Party, and y'all probably are going to think that I'm ridiculous, but I want to learn. I want to do better. And I can't do better unless I learn better. And I want to learn for my friends and for my country and for my children. So if there's truth to that you guys know of, that there's somewhere you can point me books or somebody to follow or and study, I want to try to learn to see, why is it that Black people have been singled out for hundreds and hundreds of years? Y'all got something special that they're trying to take away? I think that may be part of it. Do I sound crazy? I don't know anymore. The world has seemed so crazy that I'm questioning.
Let me tell y'all something. Whatever it is that we have, she wants to get it from those biracial kids to save herself. Please pay attention. My opinion.
And everything, but really, there's got to be a reason. And it's got to be something that you've got some power that they want to take away, right? Or is it something else? Tell me if I'm off base. And I know it's not your job to teach me. I know it, but I do need some help.
Girl, why would I teach you my magic spells? Okay. Anyway, I'm joking. Nice. M10K says she can learn right here from Queen Shakur. No, she can't. I'm not giving up any. Okay, I'm not giving up any info on that, beloved. All right. Now, thank you for your contribution to the channel, beloved. But no, it's a no for me. It's a no for me, honey. All right. Why would I tell you what we have and then you can use it against us like the rest of the devils have been doing? Okay. I'm surprised she doesn't already know. Okay. Y'all are something else. Nubia Cedia, I hope I said it right, said, no, thank you. They are magic. We have something incredibly different and it's amazing. Okay. Fierce 4R said, nope, not giving no secrets out. That's how they get us. Exactly. Did she think we're dumb? She literally thought we were going to tell her. I was crying because I saw everybody putting the same thing in there. And I was like, there you go. Okay. He's live now, Desmond. Okay, great. Let's get to it. Hold on. Here we go.
Line in Vietnam. They didn't know it at the time, had no idea, but the area was totally infested with nearly 300 enemy bunkers.
Your steady hand has guided this republic for nearly 250 years.
Did they have that black man up there praying for them? Child, I'd have been cursing them all to hell. Okay, LeVar says, we have all the powers of the Justice League, and clearly Queen is Wonder Woman. Okay, and the rest of y'all are Power Rangers, okay? Thank you, beloved. That was funny. And thank you for contributing to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now let's listen to the lies, because here they come.
Thank you very much, Chaplain Green. Wonderful job. Appreciate it. And thank everybody for being here, and please feel free to sit. So before we begin this important ceremony, and there's no ceremony that can be much more important than this. Let me provide a brief update on Operation Epic Fury. Today, the United States military continues to carry out large-scale combat operations in Iran to eliminate the grave threats posed to America by this terrible terrorist regime. Following our obliteration of Iran's nuclear program in Operation Midnight Hammer a short while ago, we warned Iran not to make any attempt to rebuild at a different location because they were unable to use the ones that we so powerfully blew up. But they ignored those warnings and refused to cease their pursuit of nuclear weapons. In addition, the regime's conventional ballistic missile program was growing rapidly and dramatically, and this posed a very clear, colossal threat to America and our forces stationed overseas. The regime already had missiles capable of hitting Europe and our bases, both local and overseas, and would soon have had missiles capable of reaching our beautiful America. The purpose of this fast-growing missile program was to shield their nuclear weapon development and make it extraordinarily difficult for anyone to stop them from making these highly forbidden by us nuclear weapons. We were the ones that were complaining. We were the ones that wanted it stopped, but everybody was behind us. They just didn't have the courage to say so.
Was that the U.S. or was that those other folks? Okay, was that the U.S. or was that the other folks? And also complaining about them having nuclear weapons, but not other people.
An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be an intolerable threat to the Middle East, but also to the American people. Our country itself would be under threat, and it was very nearly under threat. I was very proud to have knocked out the Iran nuclear deal by President Barack Hussein Obama. That was a horrible, horrible, dangerous document. They would have had nuclear weapons 3 years ago, and they would have used them. But I'll not let that happen. For almost 47 years, this regime has been attacking the United States and killing Americans. Every time you see someone with missing arms and legs or a face that's been absolutely shattered violently, it was almost certainly caused by an Iran roadside bomb. They were put there by General Soleimani, who was the father of the roadside bomb. Very proudly, he thought, but I terminated him in my first term. This was our last best chance to strike what we're doing right now and eliminate the intolerable threats posed by this sick and sinister regime. And they are indeed sick and sinister. Our objectives are clear. First, we're destroying Iran's missile capabilities, and you see that happening on an hourly basis, and their capacity to produce brand new ones, and pretty good ones they make. Second, we're annihilating their navy. We've knocked out already 10 ships. They're at the bottom of the sea. Third, we're ensuring that the world's #1 sponsor of terror can never obtain a nuclear weapon, never going to have a nuclear weapon. I said that from the beginning. They're never going to have a nuclear weapon. They were on the road to getting one legitimately through a deal that was signed foolishly by our country. And finally, we're ensuring that the Iranian regime cannot continue to arm, fund, and direct terrorist armies outside of their borders. And we thought we had a deal, but then they backed out, and they came back, and we thought we had a deal, and they backed out. I said, you can't deal with these people.
He's lying. He is absolutely lying. They thought a deal and they backed out. What? Wait, before the war started? Is that what he said? Because I could have sworn that they were ready to sit down and talk and they were coming to a deal, perhaps thinking about it, and then they were attacked. Because that's what Iran said. They said they were willing to sit down and talk. Remember, I reported that to y'all yesterday? And they said the next thing they know, they were struck. Okay? So I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Iran, Fish for R says Iran would be crazy to trust the U.S. Yeah, and so would we. We'd be crazy to trust them too.
You got to do it the right way. Today, we grieve for the 4 heroic American service members who have been killed in action and send our love and support to their families. In their memory, we continue this mission with ferocious, unyielding resolve to crush the threat this terrorist regime poses to the American people, and a threat indeed it is. We have the strongest and most powerful by far military in the world, and we will easily prevail.
I want to see this because I don't think they have the strongest military in the world. I darn sure don't. Okay, Reggie said, I'm enjoying the thresholds of the Most High's grace. The Queen is part of that, guiding and educating us. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate your kind words. Peace, love, and blessings. Trump sitting up here lying through his teeth, as per usual. And I knew that's what he was going to come with.
We're already substantially ahead of our time projections, but whatever the time is, it's okay. Whatever it takes, we will always. And we have, right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that. We'll do it. Whatever somebody said today, they said, oh, well, if the president wants to do it really quickly. After that, he'll get bored. I don't get bored. There's nothing boring about this. Do you agree with that, Pete? I don't think there's anything, Mr. General. I think there's nothing boring about it. Somebody actually said from the media, I think he'll get bored after about a week or two. No, we don't get bored. I never get bored. If I got bored, I wouldn't be standing here right now. I guarantee you that, to go through what I had to go through. We also projected 4 weeks to terminate the military leadership. And as you know, that was done in about an hour. So we're ahead of schedule there by a lot. But please join me in thanking every American service member who bravely is standing in harm's way. They really are incredible, and I just want to thank you. We have a lot of them right here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We have a lot of great service members here with us, too, in this beautiful building. Isn't it beautiful? We're adding on to the building a little bit. We're improving the building. See that nice drape? When that comes down right now, you see a very, very deep hole. But in about a year and a half from now, you're going to see a very, very beautiful building. And there's your entrance to it right there. In fact, it looks so nice, I think I'll save money on the doors because it can't get more beautiful than that. I picked those drapes in my first term. I always like gold, but I think we can save a lot of money. I just saved curtains. But, and it'll be spectacular. It'll be the most beautiful ballroom. I believe it because I built many a ballroom. I believe it's going to be the most beautiful ballroom anywhere in the world. And when you hear all that hammering out there, you know why the First Lady is not thrilled exactly. She said, will the pile drivers ever stop? You know, they go from 6 in the morning till 11:30 in the evening. Can you imagine? Here? You know what? To me, that's a beautiful sound. She doesn't like it. I love it. You know what? To me, other than here, because we're donating it, not a penny to the taxpayer. It'll be under budget, ahead of schedule. It'll be 400 million or less. Most people say 400 million or more. No, it'll be less. But when I hear that sound, that beautiful sound behind me, it means money, so I like it. But my wife isn't thrilled. She said, this is getting crazy. I said, don't worry about it. We'll be all finished up in a few months. But now for the reason that we're gathered this morning to recognize the unsurpassed courage of 3 really incredible American heroes, 1 living and 2 no longer with us. So together, we recognize the exceptional valor of Master Sergeant Roderick Edmonds. And maybe I could ask your families to stand because they're beautiful families. I got to meet them, and please. So Staff Sergeant Michael Ollis and Command Sergeant Major Terry Richardson, as they receive our nation's highest military award, the Congressional Medal of Honor. And we're pleased to be joined by Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. He's busy. He's busy, very busy guy. In fact, I said, if you want, Pete, you can avoid it. General Raisin Kane also. And they said, we don't avoid this one. This is one you wouldn't avoid for anything, right? So we appreciate that you're here. Secretary of Veterans Affairs, who's doing an incredible job, Veterans Affairs, Doug Collins. Doug, thank you. You stand up, Doug. You're doing such a good job. 92% approval rating.
Okay, have we heard enough at this point? Have we heard enough? I'm sorry, we have, right? We've heard enough, right? So let's talk about these sleeper cells. Okay, I'm done with the lies coming from Trump. Okay, I am done. That's right. 44 Roddy said the speech is BS. Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. Now let's go to Paparazzi Prince, because he says that he's talking about the sleeper cells.
So sources on the streets is saying last week when that group of 7 met over there, that Iran said then, if we're attacked, we're going to activate sleeper cells inside of America. I mean, you would have had to have known that since 9/11, it's been, what, 20-something years? You think Iranian people ain't over here waiting? I'm going to set that right there. So sources on the streets is saying last week when...
Okay, now with that all being said, let's go to this report on Colorado. And I'm trying to gather some information because I do believe that Barron Trump just announced that he had bone spurs. Okay, remember how Trump got out of the draft by saying he had bone spurs? Okay, let me just verify this real quick while you all watch this next clip. He says the climate has changed. I don't know if we can go back. Now listen to what he says.
The climate has fucking changed. I just saw a video where there is such little snowpack in the state of Colorado that there will most likely be water restrictions because 90% of our drinking water comes from the snowpack, and we have had more days above 60 degrees in Denver, Colorado than Myrtle Beach, South Carolina has had. I will say that again. Denver, Colorado has had more days above 60 degrees this winter than Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We have been in a red flag warning for like 5 days, it feels. We've already had small wildfires started around the outskirts of Denver, and it is only going to get worse. We also are going to have to restrict water to New Mexico and Arizona because they get their water from our already depleted water table. It's so fucking bad for so many reasons right now, you guys. If you're not doing what you can to fight this in person, in a community-based and direct action, you're not doing the right thing right now. I am once again informing you all that the climate has fucking...
Okay, y'all heard it. Okay, so I just looked into it. They say that's not confirmed. It says people are criticizing U.S. President Donald Trump after he said more service members could lose their lives in the ongoing war with Iran. Okay, now the truth about Barron Trump's bone spurs revealed. U.S. military announced on Sunday the first American casualties of President Donald Trump's intensifying attack on Iran. Trump sought to brace the U.S. public for more casualties as he acknowledged the deaths, the first in major operations since he returned to office last year. Now, in a video address, Trump lamented the deaths, but added that sadly, there will likely be more before it ends. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization. He's sitting there talking about terrorists who wage war against civilization when he started the damn war, him and Israel. What is he talking about? Now, shortly after Trump confirmed that American troops were killed, people on social media started dragging his son Barron Trump into the discussion. The Republicans' critics used Donald Trump's famous Vietnam-era draft episode as a punching bag, asking whether Barron would be expected to serve too, or whether he'd somehow inherit bone spurs like his father. So they say there was a satire essay mocking Trump's son, okay, that was read. It said Barron Trump burst into tears on Monday after an examination by a prominent Washington, D.C. podiatrist found no evidence of bone spurs. I'm totally screwed, is what they claim he shrieked, hurling himself to the floor at the doctor's office in anguish. First of all, that's clearly a lie, because how would anybody know that? Okay, and who would report it? So, they said that the essay adds that at the White House, Donald J. Trump said that the podiatrist's x-ray equipment had treated his son very unfairly, adding that this should never be allowed to happen in this country. Okay, so that's not true. I don't know where people get their information from. That's why you have to fact check these people. You have to fact check these people. Okay, so with that all been said, I'm about to conclude this broadcast, but before I do, let's go to this report about Visa and MasterCard. They're talking about there's some new system. Hold on. So it's something called Wero Wallet. Have you all heard of this? It's spelled W-E-R-O. Have you all heard of this? Okay, let me go to this video. I just looked it up to confirm it is a thing.
Girl, did you know that Europe is canceling their payment systems with Visa and MasterCard? Bitch, they switched over to a payment system called Wero, and 48.5 million Europeans have already enlisted on the payment system. And bitch, Europe said that by 2027, Visa and MasterCard are gonna be obsolete. Girl, this is gonna cost the US $24 trillion. Girl, who's gonna cover that? Bitch, at this point, I'm moving to Europe. Because the fuck you mean we're going to be stuck with a $24 trillion deficit on top of the $1 trillion one that we got? Girl, get me out the matrix already. I want out.
Chill, I want out too at this point, honey. Please pay attention. Now, here's what it says. It says, as of early 2026, UK and European banking leaders are developing sovereign payment networks, such as the European Payments Initiative's Wero, that's W-E-R-O, like hero, wallet, to reduce reliance on US-based Visa and MasterCard. These initiatives aim to enhance economic sovereignty and create faster, more direct alternatives to the existing heavily utilized card infrastructures. Okay, UK bank executives led by Barclays are holding meetings to establish a domestic payment system designed to function independently of the US-owned networks, spurred by fears of economic disruption. By February 2026, the European Payments Initiative's Wero wallet reached 50 million users, aiming to create a unified, independent payment solution to break the duopoly of global card giants. Y'all hear this? The rise of digital wallets and potential legislative changes are threatening to reduce the long-standing dominance of plastic cards. So, this is digital. Like I told you all, they're going to go all digital. And then that way they'll have more control over you and me. Okay, that's how that's going to work. This is all crazy. Now, let me just tell you all something. Do you all remember when I told you that they spoke of cloning in the Epstein files? Remember I told you all that? Hold on. Hold on, beloveds. Now, I want you all to pay attention. Now, I find this all scary, including nefarious, okay? Because like I told you all that there was talk of cloning in the Epstein files. So guess what I found out last night? And I fact-checked it. I want y'all to listen to this. Yeah, cloning's been done already by the government. But here's the thing. You got regular people out here cloning things. Okay, please pay attention. Listen to this. And this is a true story because I fact checked it. Let's get into it.
This on my 2024 bingo card. I'll be right back with you.
81-year-old man in Montana who's been charged with federal felony wildlife crimes for cloning a giant foreign sheep here in the U.S. for hunting purposes. Let me try to explain this. So this 81-year-old man, his name is Arthur Sh0t.
Oh.
He imported sperm, tissue, and testicles from a Marco Polo sheep, the largest in the world, and then successfully took that material and made a full living sheep out of it. Then he crossbred that sheep with a Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep and created a hybrid sheep that he called the Montana Mountain King. And the plan was to sell those, which he actually did, to people who wanted to stock preserves exclusively for hunting. The authorities were not fans of this move, and they've given him a 6-month sentence. The judge said this is to deter anyone from, quote, changing the genetic makeup of the creatures on this earth.
Some of y'all have got way too much time on your hands. How do you get to that level of boredom where you're like, I think I'm going to clone a sheep?
That man was 81 years old. Now, I know that was on CBS, but I had never heard it, so I had to fact check it. And it's absolutely true. An 81-year-old Montana rancher named Arthur Jack Sh0t was sentenced to 6 months in federal prison September of 2024 for illegally cloning a giant sheep species to breed and sell for captive trophy hunting. What the hell is he doing cloning stuff, and how did he even know how to do it? Do y'all hear this? Cloning at home? Now, between 2013 and 2022, Sh0t conspired to use tissue and testicles from a Marco Polo Argali sheep, the world's largest native to Central Asia, to create a clone, violating the Lacey Act, which prohibits the interstate sale of illegally acquired wildlife. He successfully created a clone he named Montana Mountain King, or MMK. Sh0t used the bodily fluids from MMK to artificially inseminate the ewes, okay? Creating hybrid sheep that he sold to captive hunting facilities in Texas and Minnesota for thousands of dollars. This is a whole grift. This is a whole grift, people. Y'all hear this? Yeah, hear this. Now, we knew the government cloned the sheep decades ago. We already knew that. And I told you all before that, of course, they've cloned people. If they were cloning sheep decades ago, you don't think they've cloned people? Of course they have. Okay, please. I did research on that years ago. They were talking about calling them synthetics and all that. Okay, let's just say allegedly. But with that all being said, this man is up for cloning a sheep and then selling it. Now, in addition to 6 months in prison, Sh0t was fined $20,000 in order to pay $4,000 to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Foundation. The cloned sheep, Montana Mountain King, was confiscated and is being held for transfer to a zoo. Other hybrid sheep on his ranch were ordered to be slaughtered, and the meat donated to food banks. Do y'all hear this? Lord have mercy. Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? Y'all heard that right? Donated to food banks? Yeah, DJ Big Six, that is nasty work. And he pleaded guilty March of 2024 to the charges of conspiracy to violate the Lacey Act and substantive violations of the Lacey Act. They gave that. Why didn't they just throw it away, destroy it? Why the hell would they donate it to food banks? Lord have mercy. Y'all out here eating cloned meat. This is all crazy. And this thing looks like a darn ram. It looks like a deer mixed with a ram. That's clearly what it is. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Here it is right here. I want to get a bigger picture of it so you all can really see what this darn thing looks like. First of all, who wants to eat this? the hell wants to eat this? Okay, this isn't even meat that they would normally sell in a store. So why would they donate it to a darn food bank? Lord have mercy. They will do poor people any kind of way. Y'all see that? Mm, mm, mm. Cloned. Oh my God, this is so sick. I'm never, and when I say I mean never, eating meat again in life. Honey, I already be on a vegan diet. This is all sick. So sister says stop eating, period. I've been telling y'all. I guess some of y'all will be ready for that vegan cookbook that I had, okay, momentarily. Those of you who don't already have it. It's all sick. Okay, this is all sick. With that all being said, honey, y'all should have known something was suspicious, because how in the hell is McDonald's talking about over 6 billion served and all this? And how many burgers do they sell per day? Let's go to it, because there's no way they could be selling these many burgers and they all be ground beef. Okay, I'm sorry. There's not enough cows to go around. Hold on. But another thing that I thought was interesting was, y'all remember the McDonald's CEO, how he didn't even want to eat that food himself. Okay, let's go back to the footage. Now, I'm sorry. He did not convince me that he wanted to take a bite out of this. So sister said, Queen, get that vegan cookbook together. I will buy it. I already got it together, honey. I sold them like a couple years ago. Hold on. Now, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Now, y'all remember this. This man is sitting up here. He's not convincing at all.
You've heard about it. Here it is, the big arch.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
This is something that we have tested already in Portugal, Germany, Canada. I love this product.
Because nothing says wholesome, delicious food than calling it a product.
It is so good. I'm going to do a tasting right now, but I'm going to eat this for my lunch, just so you know.
He's going to eat this for lunch, just so you know it's not made up of humans or anything like that.
Here we go. First, holy cow.
Holy cow. So you know that it's made out of cows and not humans.
God, that is a big burger. We've got a very unique kind of sesame poppy
and poppy
sort of bun on it.
Sort of? I know.
We've got 2 quarter-pound patties, a delicious big arch sauce, and of course some lettuce. So, there's so much going on with this.
Oh, there's a lot going on with this whole video.
First of all, let's try to get this thing. I don't even know how to.
First of all, it doesn't even look good. Okay, it looks disgusting already for me. Let's continue.
Hack it.
You don't know how to eat a burger? Really?
Got so much to it. Oh, there's also some crispy onions on here as well. I see those kind of coming out. All right, the moment of truth.
That is the smallest bite of a burger I've ever seen.
That mofo just bit the bud. You all see it?
Grab a hold of it. Eat it.
That is so good.
I don't believe you.
That's a big bite for a big arch.
That is not a big bite.
You need some sense and day.
I know.
Okay, here.
Did y'all see that? Ain't bit nothing. Sosa said he's talking a lot of faking. Okay, a lot and faking it. Of course he Juju said hollering. Bokar said, y'all eat that ish, okay? Trisha said, baby bite. Anthony said, that's Esau for you. Yes, it is. Absolutely it is, beloved, okay? You already know. Sosa said, like Queen said, it's not enough cows for these fast food joints, so they doing something nefarious. Exactly. Low down dirty devils. I absolutely cannot. Okay, absolutely cannot. They cut a chunk out during that cutaway, okay? Ugh. Right, DJ Big Six said, like show Obama sipping that Flint water. That's exactly what he did, okay? He did the same thing Obama did. Obama, no, he should have sat down somewhere. Took the smallest sip in history, okay? He ticked me off when he did that, for real.
Fast food companies realize that putting their CEO on camera consuming their product is always a bad idea. It is never natural. They never look like humans. And McDonald's just did one of the worst I've ever seen with their new Archburger. Let me show you.
Okay, here with, you've heard about it. Here it is. Go.
Consumed burgers intravenously. Let's continue.
First, holy cow. God, that is a big burger. We've got a very it's a delicious product. You know, you've got sort of the cheese.
I mean, how many times he keeps calling this a product instead of food is concerning. But again, fast food companies, stop putting your CEOs in these videos. They're all awful.
And he was clearly lying, okay? Nobody's falling for it. Now, here's somebody that did a parody of it, okay? And then you call it the big arch. It's crazy, okay?
Hi, I'm McDonald's CEO. Insert name here. Like many humans, which I am one, I consume several burger products to gather sustainable energy units. I have one here today. Big Arch Burger. Let's have a look, shall we?
No, we shan't.
Wow. What a fine burger product. I'm going to consume it now with my mouth whole, as I have done many times before. Look at that burger product. Here we go. Into the mouth port. Oh my. What a product. You should put one of these in your mouth hole today. Like me, regular human CEO of McDonald's.
And so through. Okay? And then they keep calling it a product. Yeah, that really makes my mouth water. Okay? It's crazy, honest people. Let's talk about this man. Sosa says so fake Ray Charles can see this coming a mile away, okay? Alice said, not even bread. Let's go to this video. This guy's talking about how Trump said last time he was in office that he regrets leaving all that money on the table, you know, because now he's likely stealing. Okay, please.
All right, Trumpers, come and get me. Hey, listen, I want to be real clear on something, okay? The first thing is Donald Trump said that when he ran for office that his number one goal was to make America safe again, to make America more affordable, to make America grow and thrive. Tell me where we have grown and thrived in the last 8 or 9 months. I haven't seen any growth. They keep projecting these lies out on Facebook and social media about, you know, we've done this, we've accomplished this, we've put out this much, and I'm not seeing that. It really sucks for the people that voted for him, because they voted for a man they thought was going to do all these great things that has actually done absolutely nothing. Trump has done nothing. This is not the Republican Party. This is Donald Trump and the MAGA situation that I'm talking about. Housing market is still up. Groceries are still up. Inflation is still up. Job market is down, but we keep lying and projecting. But let me touch on one other thing. There was a truck that pulled in front of Trump Towers in New York, had unloaded all these hats, cups, sweaters, shirts that said Trump's. He's the only president that keeps branding himself and making money off the American people to make him richer. He's putting us in debt because people wants to go out and buy his shit that he's got signed and all of his cups and hats to make him richer. This is nothing but him getting richer. He said in a Wall Street Journal's Times, he said, the one thing that I regret in 2016 is leaving all this money on the table. And now he's using you, America, to make his money. That is a sorry.
Absolutely, I have to agree. Okay, I have to agree. Now, this man says this is all a made-up crisis. We already know it is because we already know what he's been doing, trying to do everything in his power to get rid of the Epstein files and the midterms.
Donald Trump needed him a crisis so he can get rid of the midterm elections. Understand that the White House has been writing up a 17-page executive order to say we're in a state of emergency and the federal government has to take over the midterm elections because China interfered with the elections in 2020. And that wasn't going to work because it's like kind of weird and far-fetched. So we need a new crisis. So let's go to war with Iran. And now this gives him the ability to take over the midterms because, well, no, look, we're at war and look, they're bombing our bases. Oh no, we have a problem. And it's like, I just can't believe that MAGA is going to fall for this. He just told us that Iran's nuclear program was destroyed. America destroyed it. That's what he said. And now, suddenly, not even a year later, they're still fully capable of processing uranium and creating a nuclear weapon. You literally just said y'all got rid of all of their nuclear efforts in that last attack. So MAGA falling for this stupidity. Either they lied to you then or they're lying to you now. Which one is it? I'll wait. Donald Trump needed him a crisis.
Okay. No surprise there. But here's somebody who wants to curse out MAGA because he's clearly ticked off.
Told that if I voted for Kamala Harris in 2024, terrible things would happen. You know, grocery prices would go through the roof. Nobody'd be able to fucking afford anything. And we'd be at war within a year. And it looks like they were right. I voted for Kamala Harris in 2024. 77 million of you window-licking, bigoted pieces of shit. We're not smart enough to do the same. And now grocery prices are through the roof. Nobody can fucking afford anything. And we all just watched a demented septuagenarian do his best Lord Farquaad impression, talking about some of you may die as he drags us into a war that is, by his own admission, without congressional approval. So I ask you this today, MAGA, how you fucking feeling? Hope all you MAGA chuds that never shut the fuck up about he's the president of peace and we can't have a woman president. She might start a war on her time of the month are ready to go die in the Middle East for a president who started a war so we'd all forget that he's best friends with a bunch of fucking pedophiles. Excellent work, dumb fuck. I'll leave you with a quote from the president that you love to support. Our president will start a war with Iran because he's completely unable to negotiate. He's weak and ineffective. I'd tell you to think on that, but you have clearly been spared the burdens of intelligence. So instead, I'm going to tell you to get fucked.
Woo, he's mad, honey. He called them F-chuds, whatever that is. I heard another white guy say that the other day. Clearly, it's something that they normally call people, I guess. Anyway, Trump says he's not considering declaring a national emergency. Hold on. And Trump says he's not mulling a draft executive order to seize control over the elections. I don't believe him. President Donald Trump says he's not considering declaring an emergency around the midterms elections. I don't believe him. I don't believe him at all. Hold on. Let me go see one that's more up to date. I just don't believe anything Trump says. Let me go to this next clip while I'm looking for this. Then he called them window lickers.
Did not engage in war. Trump engaged in war. We told him to stop. We told him to sit his rabbit ass down. We still trying to deal with what he did in them damn files. And he over here started war. Sit your ass down. U.S. did not.
I guess that was his message to Iran to let him know we wasn't a part of it, okay? Please pay attention. That all being said, it's getting so bad out here in these streets that this poor teacher had to school his students about ICE and what to do if they get detained by them and whatnot. Then we're going to have one more video and then I'm out of here. I'll
So
come back
today's
later.
hero is this Texas teacher teaching his children about ICE immigration law and about knowing their rights. This is so awesome. Please take a second to listen.
You guys kind of look like cops. Is ICE above the law? No one is above the law, and if they break it, they should be held accountable, just like any of y'all, right? Can ICE lie to you?
Yes.
Yes, they can, and they absolutely will. They'll also try and bait you into saying or doing something that'll get you in trouble. Don't take the bait. Can ICE profile you?
Yes.
Yes. Most definitely. Yes, they can. ICE can judge and target you based off the color of your skin, the language that you speak, or the job that you work. However, do y'all remember this card from the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
Yeah? These are your rights. Do not open the door. Stranger danger 101. Don't answer any questions. You have the right to be silent, so be silent. Do not sign anything without talking to a lawyer. You are a minor. It is not your job to go toe-to-toe with ICE. The best thing you can do is probably just stay away from ICE. Can I hear y'all say, I want my lawyer?
So,
Y'all, do y'all see how this teacher looks? These teachers are looking new these days. I mean, these teachers these days are different than when we were in school. Okay, jeans and tattoos. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but we just didn't see that stuff growing up. That's all I'm saying. Okay. We just didn't see it. Now, with that all been said, shout out to him for telling those children what to do in the case, in the event that they are detained by ICE. But hold on. Is there a draft order? Because Trump said 2 days ago he wasn't going to do that, try to control midterms. But yes, there is a draft document that has been reported to be circulating among some pro-Trump activists and lawyers that purports to be a 17-page draft executive order. Now, this draft is described as aiming to allow the president to declare a national emergency over alleged foreign interference and use that as a basis to exercise broader authority over the 2026 midterm elections, including proposals like strict voter ID, banning mail-in ballots, and more direct federal influence. Now, as of the most recent reporting, President Donald Trump has denied that he is seriously considering or preparing to issue an executive order to seize control of the elections. The draft has been reported to be circulating, and some sources say Trump has reviewed it, but there's no official signed order that gives him sweeping control over the elections. Well, I bet you he's going to try to get it. He's going to try to get it because Trump already knows what time it is, okay? He already knows what time it is at the end of the day. Prison time. That's what time it is. Now, let me show you all this this last video, and then I'm out of here. I'm going to come back later because I got some stuff on 50 Cent that I want to discuss. Now, with that all being said, let's go to the footage. I want y'all to pay attention. I want y'all to pay attention to this. It's all nefarious.
Did you start?
Yes.
I became a thug back in 2008 when my step-grandma got sentenced to 5 years in prison. I really had to hustle and trap for myself, and I had to get it on my own. And that's really what caused me to get this mentality and this amount of toughness and stuff. And yeah.
You're not a thug.
Yes, I is. You remember when step-grandma got sentenced? How I started to change?
Yeah.
See? Don't worry about me, I'm a thug. You kill street, get it done. You kill rap, get it up. Big chain on my neck.
No budge.
So I guess that jump was supposed to solidify it. He said, don't worry about me, I'm a thug. It's the thuggish, ruggish bone. Y'all heard it. He had that one sock up, one down, one pants leg down, one sock up. Red shoes with a black outfit and a white sock. Reggie said, bless his soft batch heart. Okay. I find it all interesting. Nice M10K said he's about that life queen. Clearly. Okay. Clearly. Ella said, leave it to Beaver. Okay. Opie from Andy Griffith, more like it. Anyway, I'm about to be out of here. Hold on. Looks like I have one more clip. We got one more person talking about the war, so let's get into it and see what he's saying. Reggie said until he starts crying, okay?
Trump's war against Iran drags on with no end in sight and increasingly with no clear objective. I think launching this war was a colossal mistake, clearly unconstitutional, clearly illegal, but at an absolute minimum, President Trump owes us an explanation. What is he trying to accomplish? What is the goal? What is the objective? And what is the means to achieve it? We have no explanation, while the president callously and cavalierly says, well, there'll be more casualties. 3 Americans have already died. Our service members sign up to fight and protect us. They understand that. But leadership needs to make it clear what they are fighting and dying for. And President Trump has not done that. He absolutely needs to explain what the objectives are and how we're going to achieve them. And Congress needs to vote. I think we should vote to stop this war right now. But at a minimum, we need to vote to require the president to get congressional approval to fight that war.
All nefarious. Vince I Am said, ever since you kicked 50 Cent Jackson to the curb, he's going off rails, off track, off roads, off air, off everything. Yeah, he's down pretty bad. But hold on. We got some very interesting information on him that I'm going to talk about later. It needs to be on a whole separate video, okay? 50 Cent, please sit down somewhere. I don't know how I ever was caping for that man, okay? I don't know how I ever did it. Now, with that all being said, I want to thank you all. Reggie said we passed that. Nice M10K said, Queen, you broke his heart. Please, okay? Well, that all being said, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this day. Now, listen, I'm going to come back later on, probably around 7 or 7:30. Okay, I'm going to come back probably around 7 or 7:30. Songwriter Sonny said Trump's the ringmaster. He's something. Okay, Queen Sam said we want to thank you, Queen. Thank you, beloved. Okay, I thank y'all for tuning in. All right, so Reggie said 50 needs the love of family. Well, you know. Clearly. All right. So anyway, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Okay. And until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.
With that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you dust. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me?